السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. مساء الخير للجميع. Welcome to Women in Data Science event hosted by Taiba University, an empowering gathering of brilliant minds in the world of data science. My name is Rihan Mukhallafi, WIT's Medina Ambassador and an assistant professor at Taiba University. First, I would like to thank our partners in organizing this event, the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, Bayan Academy, and SIT. WIT's Medina is part of nearly 200 regional events worldwide in more than 50 countries. I would like to welcome all the inspiring women in attendance. Thank you for joining us. This conference is a celebration of diversity, inclusion, and great contributions that women have made and to continue to make in shaping the landscape of data science. It's a platform where your idea will be shared and your experience will inspire others. We are grateful for the time and effort our speakers took to share their thoughts and experience with us. Special thanks to its ambassadors, Dr. Leah Ansari and Dr. Samah Al-Afi, for their great efforts in organizing today's event. Today we will have 3 sessions, each presents multiple talks. Now we will start with a short video featuring women in data science.
Hello, my name is Flora Huang, and I'm from Philadelphia, USA.
Hello, we are Women in Data Science.
I became a WITS ambassador because I dream of an equitable world where empowered women help humanity make better decisions through data science.
As a woman, I'm hoping more Peruvian women will be motivated to join this exciting field.
The WITS community has really enhanced my sense of purpose in these life goals, and it has really built my confidence in such a meaningful way to be able to mentor, motivate, and support others.
The most rewarding and impactful aspect about my work as a clinical data scientist is to use the data generated by doctors, nurses, and the healthcare system to improve the care of future patients.
I'm delighted to bring this event to Pakistan, along with so many WITS ambassadors worldwide, so that we can inspire all young girls or women to take up career in data science.
The use of data science to address climate change and sustainability issues continues to inspire me in my data science journey.
Through WITS Alexandria, I've got the chance to meet with brilliant female professors, learn about the research, and bring that to my community as well.
I'm a WITS ambassador because I wanted to inspire more young girls like me to join the field of data science, and I believe that in the future there must be more women in this field.
I'm really excited to continue bringing WITS events to my school and schools across Australia to empower girls to get involved in the field.
It's great that we've got Women in Data Science events and know that there's so many more inspiring stories as part of the Women in Data Science journey.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Bertozzi, and I am a chemist who works in the area of drug discovery. I've had many opportunities in my life to collaborate with data scientists. They've been absolutely central to the work that we do. We couldn't have made the discoveries that we've made without having people to analyze very large data sets and to help us find hidden trends within them. Now, when I was growing up, I was somewhat insulated from the idea that women or girls couldn't be scientists because I came from a family of scientists. And when I was in college, I learned that not everyone had that privilege. I hope that all of you women data scientists or aspiring data scientists will truly feel that you belong in the field, because I believe it, and your participation is absolutely essential for us to bring the full benefits of data science to solve the big problems in humanity. So just as I was so fortunate to have a family that created an environment where I could believe in myself as a scientist, I'm hoping that you all have the confidence to pursue your dreams and that you help the generation that follows you in the same way that hopefully someone of my generation can be of help to you. Good luck with all of your work.
Now we'll start with our first talk presented by Dr. Hadil Ayoub. Dr. Hadil is an assistant professor at King Abdulaziz University. Dr. Hadil, please, you can start. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm very honored to be invited to share my experience in assistive technology, specifically applying data collected from real users who use their hands to communicate due to different disabilities. I'm an assistant professor at King Abdulaziz University, and I teach technology and design. I'm going to give you a very quick background in the area where I'm working, which is how to recognize what hands are doing in 3D space. And usually it is done in one of two ways. You either use computer vision, so you've got a camera, just like the Xbox or the Kinect, that is tracking you fully as a human or your hands in the space so that you can interact with the virtual space in a computer. For that, you need a camera to be with you everywhere all the time. The other way to collect data from hands and what they're doing in 3D space is data gloves, which is gloves that are wired with multiple sensors and is programmed to record the movements of the hands and the bending of the fingers. And then a program is written to translate those numbers into whatever output you want, whether it's for games, rehabilitation, or in my case, I use them for communication. My circuit that I built to create a data glove from communication was a set of flex sensors that measure what fingers are doing flex or bent, and a couple of other sensors. You could call them gyroscopes, accelerometers. All of them are available in our smartphones now when we play, the games, and the phone knows how much we're tilting the phone, we're bringing it up or down to play in a game. I then connect that to a small computer chip. At the beginning, I used Arduinos, and then I moved to Raspberry Pi, simply because I wanted different features over the prototyping cycles. And I'll go a little bit in detail when I talk about case studies. The software was very, very simple. It was a series of input and output, and then like a machine learning software in the middle. The input was everything that was coming in from the sensors, and then I created a program that registered those numbers and compared them with pre-registered signs, and then the output was whatever the sign matched. So let's say I recorded a sign for hello multiple times. Someone else then used the glove. If they make the sign in the same range, then the system will recognize it and will output hello. I added a speaker to translate the text to speech, and that way anyone was able to use the glove to make the sign, and then immediately the speaker would translate that into speech. The first glove I made looked like that. I gave it to 2 students who had autism in one of the special schools here in Jeddah. It only had 10 signs from a sign language library called Makaton. I used Arduino and a series of if statements. There was no machine learning in this glove. I just wanted to see if people like it, will they use it, would they actually rely on it for communication. These specific students were nonverbal, meaning that they could not talk. So they relied on their hands to communicate, but people didn't understand what they were saying. The glove was able to accurately recognize the signs and output them 80 to 85% of the time. And that gave me an indication of what I needed to fix for consequent rounds. So for 3 years after that, every year I conducted a full usability study with groups of students in different schools, specifically special educational needs schools. So I had combinations of hearing impaired, speech, I think they call them impaired speech as well, or limited speech, and incomplete palates, autism, Down syndrome, and some neural diseases like cerebral palsy. They were very, very different in their needs, so that made it compulsory that I use machine learning, because everybody needed their own set of commands. They didn't like to follow the rules, and their signs never matched my signs when I was training the gloves in the lab. So I finally put together a different kind of circuit. This time, it was a lot lighter. It was in the form of completely embedded, and all of the hardware was in a wristband, something like the Apple Watch. And the way the software worked was, it was pretty much the simplest form of gesture recognition in machine learning, which is k-nearest neighbors, dynamic time warping, which means whether they perform the sign faster or slower than I perform it or they perform it the first time, the system will still be able to recognize the numbers and the signs coming in. I only programmed the system to be able to recognize 50 words, and every person taught the glove their own signs, which means that the glove came empty dictionary, and every person or every user created a library of signs so that they can communicate. And I allowed them to record up to 10 samples per sign so that the system can recognize the variation. And the way it worked, that someone would choose record the sign and the recording, and then keep adding to that library. And then when they sign, basically it translates that into speech instantly. They only had one language, which was English. And I used 30 different student groups over, I think, 6 months it was, and that was the final study for my PhD. The results were very, very satisfactory compared to the previous rounds of prototyping. 8 participants got 100% accurate results, 2 participants got less than accurate. A lot of the users that didn't quite get good results were much younger, and they were less experienced signers. I moved on to create more user studies to understand the differences between the signs, the differences between the people. This is 4 different users signing the same sign, so you can see how personal classifiers are different from group classifiers. In this one, this is a sign for thank you, and this is another sign for please and thank you. The signs are exactly the same. The difference is in orientation, which means in one of them, my hand is facing my face. In the other one, my hand is facing away from my face, but everything else is the same. And the system was still able to recognize that difference. With please and stop, it wasn't able to recognize the difference because it was exactly the same sign, but one was higher and one was lower. So it wasn't trained to understand that that's actually a different sign. The final result is almost 100%, so 99.97, which was the highest ever achieved classifying algorithm for recognizing hand gestures. And with this, I was able to register a patent for the machine learning algorithm. I then decided to look at the market and understand the size of the problem. When I worked with users who can't speak over the course of 3 years, I realized that they're using a lot of tech that is not really successful in communicating their needs. And so I looked at the size of the market, and it was huge. It's 230 million, and only 2% of them have access to assistive technology. I developed an application that helps them use it in a lot more easier way. I created a new machine learning software that allowed them to train and teach the glove from one sample only, and it's called one-shot learning. And I also registered a second patent for this one because I realized that people are impatient and they're not going to sit and record 10 signs per word. So I wanted the system to be able to recognize a sign from one time. And as long as they are consistent, the system will always recognize it in the right way. I then paired it with neural translation, and I was able to allow the user to translate their signs to 90 different languages in 280 voices. I compared this product with what was being used in the market, and we achieved in every category, especially communication using sign language. I created a series of case studies between last year and this year. We just finished one with the Holy Mosque in Medina. Last year, we did Ministry of Education, and we're now rolling that out for all of the schools in Saudi Arabia, especially in a system, I think it's called At-Ta'lim Al-Shamil. So to integrate students who are using assistive technology from special schools into mainstream schools. The system takes 15 minutes to set up, 1 minute to teach a new sign, and it's 99% of the time accurate. The result of the study with the Ministry of Education is that most of the people wanted to use it to support education. And the users wanted to use it because it increased their privacy and independence, because they were able to communicate their needs without a translator or a carer or a speech therapist. From my side, from the system feedback, the custom signs were the most popular feature of why people wanted to use BrightSign, because some users made up their own signs and no system was able to translate that for them. From the teacher's perspective, they reported that BrightSign improved relationship making in the school, especially new schools, and independence in communication. These are few testimonials from users of our Smart Glove. Some of them are therapists, some of them are parents, and they all fall under the same category of enabling independence of users who were unable to communicate independently before. These are the list of awards we gained for the system that we developed. Some of them are local, some of them are international. A lot of them give us support using their software or campus or labs. This system now is rolled out in these countries, it's 33 countries, and we have been able to send 100 units completely free of charge and covered by the government in different ministries like Ministry of Human Resources and Al-Awqaf. Here are my references, and I am 3 minutes before the time, so happy to take your questions. Thank you.
Any questions? It's a great talk. Thank you, Dr. Hadid. If there is nothing to ask, maybe we'll move to the second talk. Okay, now for the second talk, we have Dr. Marty, is a part-time assistant professor at Ottawa University and a researcher in Jamiat Mohammed bin Zayed. Dr. Fadwa?
Yes, I can hear you. So I'll present my screen.
Yes, Dr. Fadwa, your screen is now there.
Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Fadwa, and I would like to thank all the organizers for putting this event together. I would like to thank my friend, Dr. Samah Al-Aufi, for inviting me here. I'm honored to be among all of you. And I would also like to thank the organizers for making it an online event, allowing many of us to come together today. So I would like to talk to you about the potential of the digital twins for health and well-being. The agenda is as follows. We will start with concepts and definitions. We will talk about the interest of academia in digital twins for health and the role of artificial intelligence in this technology. We will talk about the requirements of the digital twin for health. We'll see a case study and talk about the various areas of potential for this technology, and then conclude with research perspectives. So the digital twin concept, it started in recent years, mainly in the manufacturing industry. It started as mainly as a digital replica of a component or industrial process. And then it had many, many benefits in the manufacturing industry. So the researchers in human health started to think about this technology and the use of it for humans. And so in 2018, an article came that redefined the digital twin as a digital replica of any physical entity, including living things. And of course, the humans are at the top of this list. So this concept brought about a powerful concept that is bridging the gap between the real and the digital world, and that allows us to serve the human health the way that other industries benefited from this industry. In a study that we conducted to study the artificial intelligence models in digital twins for health, we found that it was clear that in recent years, starting from 2018, the digital twin publications were growing, which shows interest of the research community in this interest in technology. So what is the role of artificial intelligence in digital twins for health? So artificial intelligence is, of course, used in many, many domains. One of the most important ones is human health. So AI can be applied to real data from body sensors, and we can have continuous improvements of those machine learning algorithms using updated data from those sensors. We can have, through those AI algorithms, suggestions of action plans that the individuals can take for their health, and we can make health predictions in order to be able to prevent, for example, some harmful situations, avoid some behaviors that can be detrimental to human health, and of course suggest behaviors that can be beneficial. So what are the requirements of the digital twin for health? So we have mainly 4 requirements that we will see in coming slides. We have the digital twin data collection. We have the digital twin data standardization, digital twin data analytics, of course, and then the digital twin interaction. The data collection. So data is the foundation of AI models. So without it, we cannot do any analysis, of course. And we want to collect quality data from sensors. So an example is, for example, a person wants to know how much they are being active, and they will not be able to report that accurately unless we are monitoring them directly through sensors. This is the right timing for the emergence of the digital twin, because we have more and more wearables coming into the market every day to sense different parts of the body functions. The use of sensors, we can of course use them for improving the health, and also for some athletes to improve their sport performance if the coaches are tracking them. One of the key elements of the digital twin is also the continuous monitoring. So we don't want to just collect data in order to build a digital twin at one point in time. We actually want to continue collecting data so that the digital twin can be a representation of the real person at any moment in time. The data standardization. So is the standardization important for the digital twin? We have high volume of data being collected through IoT devices, and of course, the digital the health devices are no exception. We have high volumes of data being collected. Now, this data comes from proprietary data formats from different manufacturers. Each of them uses their own communication protocol that is private to them. And we have a growing number of manufacturers. So, of course, this poses a problem because, for example, if a person goes to a doctor and they have their, for example, they're examining a heart problem, they have data from their smartwatch. The doctor cannot really look at it, despite the best of their intentions, because a person will come to them with, for example, a smartwatch from Apple, another person will come with a Fitbit, another person with Samsung smartwatch, and each will have its own data formats. And there's many of them coming out every day to the market. And so in order to be able to benefit from this data and make use of it, we need the manufacturers to follow a certain standard to allow interoperability. So there are a few standards right now specific to health devices. One of them is ISO IEEE 11073, also called X73, that addresses this issue in a promising way. The third requirement is data analytics. So it is at the heart of the digital twin. So we have, like we said, high amounts of data being collected. Human brain, of course, cannot make use of this data. We need machine learning, we need deep learning algorithm, we need to do data pre-processing in order to be able to detect any patterns in this data and make some accurate predictions. And the fourth and final step is the interaction between the digital twin and the real twin. So many systems will collect data and at a point in time and extract some information from it. However, the person, the real twin, doesn't get to benefit from this data. To be able to achieve this, we need to have an interaction in both ways. So first, the actuation will convey to the real twin the recommendations of the digital twin system. And then the person will react in a specific way to this recommendation. This will in turn feed the system again and provide better recommendations for the next time. So we have 4 components for the digital twin system for well-being and health: the data sensing, the data collection, data analysis, and the digital twin interaction, which brings us to the overall architecture of the digital twin for health and well-being. So first, we collect data from the real twin and feed it into the system. Then we have sensors attached to the body that will collect this data, hopefully following the X73 standard so that we can make full use of this data. However, since in the market, most of the existing devices are not following the standard yet, so we have to account for them in the digital twin system for now. So this data will be communicated either through a standardized way or non-standardized into the data collection system. So we have communications module that will get this data into specific databases where it will be kept to keep the history of the person's health and also to be analyzed through the next module, which is the data analysis module. So here we apply data pre-processing, we apply machine learning, deep learning algorithms for pattern recognitions and others. And based on this data analysis, we will be able to provide recommendations through actuation, which can be physical actuation or virtual. Virtual actuation can be, for example, through notifications, recommendations, maybe using the phone. So many of us use the phone every day for different purposes. We might as well use it in a beneficial way for notifications for our health. Physical actuation can be in the form of vibrations or ambient intelligence use. So this will be, of course, communicated to the real twin, who will then behave in a specific way that will be fed back to the system to close the feedback loop. So for example, in other systems, this is already used, like Netflix or Amazon, where they suggest some recommendations, and based on the user's action to follow or not follow some of them, this data is not wasted. It's fed back into the system to improve the user profile and make better suggestions next time. This can also be used in the digital twin system. So what are the advantages of the digital twin for health and well-being? There is many of them. We're going to go through a few of them. So the continuous health monitoring. So this is not a point in time, for example, a visit to the doctor where the person is checked. Those health devices allow for continuous health monitoring of the person. We have accurate health data. So right now, it's a well-known fact among caregivers that when a person reports to them specific symptoms, for example, even if they do their best because they want to get the best care possible, so they try to report that in an accurate way. However, we are humans, so we're not very aware of many of the things. So by attaching sensors to the body, we can have accurate health data instead of reported data that contains bias. Awareness of the person's health. So the digital twin, through notifications, can make the person aware of their own health. So they don't only rely on the doctors, they also can get their health in their hands and take care of it directly. Health condition alerts. This allows not waiting until some health conditions are aggravated. The person can go and seek help if the digital twin shows an alert that something may be not right. Patterns of how behaviors affect health, because we are monitoring the person through sensors. Personalized feedback. So this is a system that can be customized, so the person can log into the system and check their own preferences and update them. Access to data analytics by caregiver. So if the person gives consent, then a caregiver can directly access the data analytics that are presented by the AI system. And long-term health data analysis, because we can keep the history in the database. So some studies, they will be able to check the history and come up with an analysis of the data over time, which will be very beneficial instead of just one point in time analysis. And AI algorithms provided with aggregated data. So once these systems are tested and trusted, more people will be able to adopt them. And of course, if we have many people adopting the digital twin system, then we have more data. And with more data comes higher accuracy and better predictions. So a case study. So many case studies can be done with the digital twin, and there is more and more research coming in this domain. In fact, imagination is the limit. And so a simple case study that we would like to see today is about the human physical activity. So WHO, the World Health Organization, it has posted that overweight and obesity are a globally leading death factor, that it is a major risk factor for heart disease, stroke, diabetes. The American Heart Association recommends physical activity of at least 30 minutes for adults, and of course for children it's a lot more. So we would like to go with a common case scenario where a person wants to become physically fit. So in order for a person to do that, a few things have to be achieved. So they need to be able to keep track of how much exercise they are getting. They want to know the best personalized exercise plan. They want to be self-motivated to keep an exercise routine. And they want to see their progress over time, because one of the strongest human motivators is the progress. And so by seeing how much progress they have achieved over time, they can be motivated to achieve more successes. So how can a person do that? So we would like to use a sensor in order to be able to track accurately the person's exercise level. So are we limited to the regular smartwatch, or can we have a more creative smart device? So we decided to go for an ISO IEEE 11073 standardized compliant smart insoles. They can be used for a variety of purposes, including diabetes or post-stroke gaits, asymmetries, monitoring. We use them for the monitoring of fitness and well-being. So in our digital twin system, we have used those insoles as a standardized input device. And as actuation of the real twin, we have used haptic device to remind them of the exercising, and visualizations from graphs and heat maps. So in the experiment, we used a mobile application. We use armbands for the vibrations. We use smart insoles. As you can see here, they have sensors at the front of the foot, at the ball of the foot, and at the heel level. And we recruited participants who can perform different physical activities. So we were able to successfully differentiate with a high accuracy between the different activities that they were performing. So we asked them to do some walking, some running, and sitting, like we sit on the desk, for example, and so that we can measure how much time they spend in each. So the patterns were distinct. So for the walking, we had less intensity. So the intensity is measured from the sensors in the insoles at the bottom of the shoe. So less intensity for walking, more intensity for running, of course. The walking steps are more separate, and the running ones are more closer together. And for the sitting, the intensity was much less. So we asked them to sit at a computer chair with wheels so that they can move around if they need to grab a paper or a book, talk to a colleague. And so the pressure, even when they are moving, the pressure is very little. And so we know that they are in a sitting position with a good accuracy. So this is one of the examples of the devices that can be used for monitoring health, physical activity for well-being. When we were studying the existing digital twin applications for health, we found that there are many different applications in literature. Some of the researchers are using it for fitness management, some of them for heart issue detection, blood circulation analysis, etc. So there is many different domains where such system can be used. One of the potential of the digital twin that can actually improve the predictions is to be able to integrate different specifications from different devices. So the communication module of the digital twin system, it allows integrating multiple devices into the system so that we can aggregate data from them and be able to treat the body as a whole. This is, of course, very complex because we would like to build the digital twin for the human body. So we would need to use advancements in artificial intelligence algorithms. And there is also a lot of advancements being done in the sensory technology to allow this for better predictions. And to conclude, the digital twin system contributions will be improved noticeably once many individuals adopt this system, because we can be able to bring data from multiple people together to study it. Advancements such as sensor data fusion can be used in this case. The human body works as a whole. It's an inseparable whole. And so by putting together multiple sensors to study different aspects of the health, that will improve the digital twin system. And then once we put such system together and it's ready for use, we can run what-if scenarios through the digital twin in order to not experiment with human beings, but with the digital replica of them to see what possible positive or negative outcomes can happen if the person continues with the same health behavior, and how we can prevent negative health outcomes and promote positive health outcomes. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fadwa.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, you can write it in the comment sections for Dr. Fadwa or for Dr. Hadil.
Can you hear me? Dr. Fadwa?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question related, regarding the sensor data, how, can we collect the data with smartphone sensors?
Yes, with the existing smartphone sensors, yes, that can be collected. For example, some of the smartphone existing applications can calculate steps through the sensors, like for example, the accelerometer sensor in the phone.
Yes.
Yes, and with some accuracy. So yes, for sure. The smartphone can also be used as health device in this case, and transmit data to the system that can be also part of the digital twin system.
another thing, while collecting the data, for how many seconds did you collect the data, or minutes, like for standing, walking, like 1 minute, or how many minutes or seconds, like?
Okay, so thank you for the question. So for the experiments we are doing, we're collecting the data for a few minutes each, like for example, 5 minutes each or so. For one instance, we followed with some sports participants in a hockey game, because we're in Canada. So they play hockey, and we collected the data for almost the full hour. However, the goal from the digital twin system is to be able to get to the point where we collect data almost 24/7, of course, as long as the person is comfortable wearing the device, or for as long as the person is able to wear that device. The reason is that the more data we collect, the more we'll be able to talk about the health of this person, analyze it, and have more information about their health. Some of the devices, for example, like the digital scale, if the person can go on the scale maybe a couple times a day, the data can be transmitted to the system directly. That would be enough. But for other health devices, like for example, heart monitoring, or for example, ECG brainwaves, we would like to have data for more time in order to analyze it. For example, the person goes to the doctor, they take their blood pressure at a point in time. But this is not enough, because the person, when, for example, they are, like, for example, it's a university, some students have exams, they have high level of stress during the exam period. However, it happens to be that during the exam period, they don't go to the doctor because they are busy. So the doctor may not notice that they have pretty high blood pressure that maybe needs more monitoring and needs to be taken seriously. So if the person has a digital blood pressure monitor in their possession and they can use it, then this data can be sent to the doctor and he can see the history instead of just that one point in time. So this is what we're aiming at.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Because my research also is on this only. I'm working on the sensors and physical activity monitoring. Thank you so
That's
much.
amazing.
Dr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we have the third talk with Dr. Ruqayya. Dr. Ruqayya Abdurrahman is an assistant professor at Taiba University. Dr. Ruqayya.
السلام عليكم، تسمعوني؟
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. سامعينك دكتورة.
Okay. First of all, I would like to say بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I don't know, is my now presentation has been shared or not yet?
Yeah, it's shared
I have
now.
an issue with this version. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, we can see it.
For some reason, it's not the version that I have in my laptop. Do we have a time to re-upload, or it's okay?
Yeah, I think you can upload another version, Doctor.
Another version. Okay, I'll remove this one because I think this is one. Okay, while I'm uploading the slides, I would like to thank Dr. Rihan for the invitation, and I'm happy to be one of the speakers in this event. I really enjoyed the presentation that is presented by my colleagues in previous to half an hour, I think. I would like to thank everyone for joining me, and also I would like to somehow warning you that maybe my slides will contain some of the maybe not comfortable pictures of something. So if you are not happy of seeing some of these pictures, just be aware of that. Anyway, صار upload ولا الناس بس ما ظهر؟
لا الآن غير ظاهر دكتورة.
ظاهر؟
لا
لأنه ما هي نفس النسخة اللي أنا رفعتها. I don't know for some reason معكس مو راضي يطلع لي last version. في مشكلة ما نعرف هو من عندي ولا من عند الأبلود، يعني بيطلع لي النسخة القديمة، ما نعرف ليش مو بيطلع النسخة الجديدة. طيب I don't know where to get it from. Anyway, let's go to recent. There is nothing. نفسه صح؟ Okay, I'll present it.
Yeah.
I'll
try again.
The
presentation is not there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't see the presentation. Your slides.
This is the same one. I can't remove.
Okay. Now, yeah.
Okay.
الآن.
Okay, but this is not the last. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I can find a little bit different from mine. Okay, anyway. I'll present today something related to applying virtual reality in technology in dental education. This work has been started since 2018, so it is a continuous work. We started at the beginning with Dr. Safa Jambi, or the orthodontics from School of Dentistry, and then we started to complete her work in our college with some of our students in the College of Computer Science. I'll talk today about a little bit. I'll give you an introduction and motivation for this work, and I'll give you two quick case studies about crossbites and canine. I will talk about the methodology and the workflow and the implementation of these two case studies. Then I will conclude our work. Let's start. Okay. For the introduction, هنا ما في slide show, just يطلع لي نفس السلايد كده at once. سامعتني دكتور إلهام؟ Okay. We started with the teeth of some of the children. Their age range from 5 years to 10 years. Why we do this work? Because we know, all of us, we know that the dentistry field is something sensitive. Because if the kids they have bad teeth, they won't be confident on themselves, and they will have some maybe emotional issues in future. So what we are trying to do in this study, we will encourage some of the parents as well as the students of School of Dentistry to predict the problem of the teeth in their children in early age. Because if they can detect this in early age, it will be more helpful for them, and it will save their money in future, and to even make the kids more confident on themselves. The problem is not everyone, either the parents or even medical scientists, can predict the problem from early age. They started School of Dentistry. They started to go to some schools in Medina, and they went to visit those kids and tried to examine their teeth in schools. Why do they do that? Because when they teach the students of dentistry in the College of Dentistry in Taiba University, most of the cases that they are studied in the courses, they cannot find something in the real world. So that's why the students may be aware about the concepts in theoretical, but he didn't face any of these cases in real life. And this is the major cause of maybe lead to mistreatment in future. That's why we need some experts to diagnose the problem of the tooth or for the kids. How can we do that? The dentistry education needs to use high precision model for realistic training patients. The problem is, can you imagine if you are a kid or your kid is there and there is 4 or 5 doctors around him, all of them are watching and seeing at him. The kid will be afraid of the doctors and dentists because he is a small, tiny creature and he is lying down on the bed while lots of people are looking at him. So even if they face or they can find any of special case of the problem in the teeth, they can, the School of Dentistry, they cannot let all of the students come and see this case. Why? Because the kid will be afraid and maybe he will refuse to open his mouth and etc. That's why we need to find a new solution to teach those students of dentistry to study the cases. And this is what we aim to do in our projects. Because the current situation, it is all what they are studying is just with 2 dimensions. They have just textbooks with pictures of 2 dimensions. And sometimes they have some of the 3D models, but this 3D models is something static. It just gives them the model of the teeth, but there is nothing related to the issues or the cases of canine and crossbite that we will teach them. So the solution that we come up in this project is to use virtual reality to improve the education of dentistry. How we do that? We will use 3D model to implement the tooth by tooth. And to do this for the children, we concentrate on the children with the age from 5 to 10 years. Because most of the kids in this age, they started to gain the permanent teeth and lose the milk teeth. And this is the sensitive age for the kids. If we can observe the teeth from early age, and fix any corruption from the beginning, it will save money and effort for the parent and even for the kids itself in future. So that's why in this project we started our project with our first case study. It's called Across Bites, and this is the team that we work on this project. Okay, some of the picture here is not, how can I go back, Manish? Okay. This is the cross bite. What is cross bite means? We have 2 kinds of cross bite. We have something called anterior and something called posterior. And even for anterior, we have 2 kinds of cross bites, something called group of teeth and something called just one single tooth. For the posterior, we have even 2 sides or 1 side. In both sides could be in both sides or just be in 1 side. I'm sorry for the slides. I don't know why it comes something like this. It is different than mine. Even this slide. Okay, so our methodology for this project, we will do some of 3D model. Then we will take this 3D model in VR glasses. طب كيف أشارك الشاشة؟ في طريقة نعمل مشاركة الشاشة؟
present.
Okay.
أيوه share screen.
إيش أنا بدي select tab to share. Share me. The entire screen. Okay. احنا خلصنا the slides. Okay. Okay. This is our case study. We said we have 2 types. It is anterior and posterior cross bites, and we will work with both of these, all of these cases. In our methodology, we built our 3D model And then we use the 3D model in the VR virtual reality glasses. We use Oculus glasses. Okay, the first point is image acquisition. For this project, we have to take every teeth of the kids, and we have to take the measurement of these teeth, because the measurement is something very sensitive in creating a 3D model. We should distinguish between the permanent teeth and the milk teeth for kids. So we have to take the measurement, and we depend on some of the dentistry textbooks to take the real measurement. After that, we took these teeth and we do some of the, we change some of the texture of this teeth. So even for the jaw, because there is no model for the jaw of the kids, all the existing models of jaw are related to the adults. So we bought this model, then we modify the model to adjustment with the kids' jaws. Because the kids, they only have 24 teeth, while adults they have more. So we took this jaw, and then we remove the parts at the end, some of based on the pixel. Then we joined this and we resize. First, we resize the holes between the teeth to match the kids' teeth. Then we put it in the jaw. This is the last one. Is the seam, merge the pieces with the jaw of the kids. Secondly, we take some representation based on this. This is the basic model of the jaw and the teeth for the kid. After we resizing the jaws, then we took every single of case of anterior and posterior crossbite, and then we make a model for it. So the students of dentistry can imagine which teeth has corrupted and which teeth will affect the kid in future. After that, we took for all cases, we even use the mouth when it is open, and the jaw when it is open, and the jaw when it is closed, because this one will affect the crossbite. So the students of dentistry can imagine if the teeth not in its own right position, how can he fix these teeth from the beginning? What he will do to prevent the teeth to grow up in a wrong position. After that, we took all of these teeth, and we put some of the texture on these teeth. This is some of the how the teeth looks after we put the texture, and this is the real teeth with the real measurement for the kid. So this is the final shape of the jaw and the teeth for the kid after we put this texture. And finally, we do some rendering and cleaning the data to make it more clean for the students. This is how we built the virtual reality world. So in this project, they built everything in this room but from scratch. So they try to put the student, because this is how he will see the world when he wearing the Oculus glasses. So he can move in the room, and he will see the same room as the dentist room for the patients. So this is the examination room, and the kid will be here. So he can use, if you can see here in the right, there is some of the instructions. If he click on one of these, it will give him more instruction about the case. And this is how the teeth it looks. So he can rotate the teeth, and he can go inside the teeth and do the 360 degree of rotation. So he can see the teeth, every teeth, if it is in the right position, or if there is some cross bites, how the teeth would be looks like, and if how he can measure the distance that he has to fix for the kid. And this is all of the implementation of the crossbite model. After that, we did some of the testing related to unit testing for Maya program and for Unity program that we code the program in. Then we did some of the integration testing and release testing. And all of these testings come with good or positive results. The second case study will talk about the canine. This is the other project that we did it with different groups. We tried to improve the previous implementation, as well as we will study different kind of disease for the kids. This kinds of the canine. So the canine is, if you can see here, different kinds of canine. Most of the kids, if they face this problem at the beginning in early age, it won't come in this situation when they grow up. So that's why we'll try to avoid this case to happen to the kid itself. How can we do that? We built the same 3D model similar to the previous one. We follow the same methodology, but we did something different related to the canine itself. Because the canine, we cannot just talk about the teeth alone. We have to look at the whole skull of the kid. If you can see, this is, subhanallah, something that I shocked when I started the project. You should know that the permanent teeth is already there in our bones once we are born. So it is not something new. I thought just if we have a milk teeth, something will be replaced with permanent teeth, and that's it. But I've never think, where did this permanent teeth come from? So subhanallah, when في القرآن it says فكسونا العظام لحما ثم أنشأناه خلقا آخر. So if we look like this, I think it is very scary to look at each other with this shape. So that's why when subhanallah, Allah give us some texture and put some something for cheek, for our cheek and our gums to remove or not remove, to hide these kinds of teeth. So that's why we just see the good parts in our mouth. So this picture shows how the permanent teeth comes and it pushes the milk teeth to replace these teeth. The problem is if the jaw is too small and the teeth is a little bit big for the jaws, or it is the milk teeth didn't push in the right time. So that's why it will come this canine problems. For our methodology, we did some models. So we bought a model for the adults as well. So in these adults, we took every single teeth for the kids. For example, as I said, we started for the kids. We make a model for the kids from 5 years old till 10 years old. We took every teeth of this child. For example, in 5 years old, how his upper central teeth looks like, and how it will grow up till he will become at 10 years old. This is for his permanent upper teeth. So this all, we took everyone, and we took the measurement, the real measurement as it is, based on the textbooks in dentistry school. So then after that, we took this teeth and we try to put it in our model. This is the jaw, the skull. For our model, we have to build all these teeth that we took here, and we should put it in its right place with the right measurement in the teeth. So for example, this is for 5 years old, the skull of 5 years old, how his teeth looks like, and where it should be, and if there is something wrong, it will come. How can the dentist will detect this problem in early stage? And we did this for all years, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10 years. But for a shortening, I didn't put it here in the presentation. Okay, this is the impact of canine. If the canine comes and there is 2 teeth and coming and the milk teeth still there, how it will come. So this is the problem that we can show the student of dentistry. If the student of dentistry can imagine this problem and can work with this virtual reality world, he will go inside the teeth, inside the jaws, and he can look at the teeth from all sides, from 360 degrees. So every teeth he can show it as a piece, and how it will be fixed in the jaw. So this is how the students will learn something new with 3D and interactive environment, instead of just read this in a textbook or look at it at an X-ray pictures. After we built this our skull, we put some texture. We use another texture to cover the skull. This is how the interface of the project looks like. And if there is a time, I can show you some video. في time, دكتورة ريهام؟ ولا I exceed my time؟ في أحد معي هنا؟
أيوة معاك دكتور رقية.
أيوة هلا. في وقت
ما متأكدة صراحة إذا تقدر تفتحي فيديو.
أوكي.
من العرض. تبغى تفتحي من الويب سايت من البراوزر؟
لا أنا بعمل شير الشاشة حقتي.
أوكي.
ظاهر عندكم كده؟
أيوة صحيح واضح.
ظاهر عندكم؟
أيوة ظاهر دكتور رقية.
This is the final project, how the students can visit each tooth and do something. And even here on the right, he can find some of the description of the teeth and if there is something wrong or how he has to study these teeth. For future work, we already implement this in our classes, and we contribute in طيبة تبتكر, and we get the final, but we didn't get any يعني ما أخذنا any مركز, but we reached the finals. And even we are targeting to do this in منشآت in future inshallah. So this is still a continuous work, and I'm ready for any question if you have any. And thank you for your listening.
So, any question for Dr. Raqaya? أعتقد ما في أسئلة دكتورة رقية. So I would like to thank all our speakers for their insightful talks. And now we're gonna move from women in health into women in the smart cities. Sorry, I couldn't upload my slides, but I'm happy to introduce our first speaker in Smart City, Dr. Hawazin Badawi. Dr. Hawazin is an applied AI assistant professor at the Computer Science Department at Al-Qura University. She has been studying the use of technology for health and well-being and has published numerous articles and papers on the topic. Her research interests include digital health in smart cities and applied AI in healthcare. So, Dr. Hawazin, the stage is yours. You can start your talk.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Thank you very much, my dear friend Dr. Samah Al-Aufi, for inviting me to this great event. And I would like also to thank the organization for all the organization that you did for such great event, and it's my pleasure to be among these brilliant minds. As Dr. Samah mentioned, today I will talk about digital twins as an enabling technology in smart cities, and I will add up on what Dr. Fadwa already mentioned previously in her presentation on digital twins for health and well-being. And my presentation will show how we model the digital twins for citizens on the level of or actually on 3 levels: on the micro level for individuals, or the meso level for citizens as member in the different communities, and as the whole city, which is the digital twin for the smart city. Before starting, I would like to give a brief introduction about myself. As Dr. Samah mentioned, I did my PhD in computer science from University of Ottawa, and currently, as she mentioned, I'm applied AI assistant professor at Al University and specialized in digital twins developing for health and well-being in the smart cities. Before starting, I would like to take the chance to ask you, if you don't mind, to break the ice and have a kind of interaction or interactive presentation, to scan the QR code that you see beside my picture. Because actually, since I came in 2021, there was like nobody, it was like a fairly new term for the digital twins. And since that time, I took, actually, I promised myself to increase awareness firstly on this new technology. And actually, when Prince Mohammed bin Salman announced the line in NEOM, I was so happy because he mentioned that digital twins is one of the main infrastructure technology in the building of this futuristic city. And actually, that was like shown in LEAP 2023 this year in Riyadh, because they were talking about how digital twins is one of the forefront technologies in the building and proposing actual smart cities, because all what has been done so far in terms of smart cities is changing or converting or taking the current actual traditional city into upper level, which is making it as a smart city. But now is the future and the trend of establishing smart cities from the scratch, and digital twins consider one of the forefront technologies in this regard. So if you don't mind, go ahead and scan the QR code, and please let me know or give me an idea about if you've heard about this concept before today's presentation, either Dr. Fadwa or my presentation. I mean, if you heard about it in details. And as you can see in the questions in the questionnaire, it will be my pleasure to provide me your answers in this regard. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do so, and then we will proceed to the content of the presentation.
Dr. Hawazin, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Sorry for the technical. I am here. Okay, so thank you very much for those who already submitted their answer. But I'm just wondering if you are seeing my presentation right now or not yet.
Not yet.
Because I already shared it. Okay, here you go. Okay, for today's agenda, I will talk briefly about the digital twins role in Industry 4.0, which is I already mentioned previously, and answer the 5 W's questions on digital twins, just to give you a brief overview on top of what Dr. Fadwa thankfully provided us earlier this day. And then I will give an overview of the digital twins for smart cities and what is it all about, and then present a case study from my PhD thesis that is considering building the digital twin for 2 cities in North America, which are Boston and Quebec City. As I mentioned earlier, digital twin, according to the literature, considered at the forefront of the Industry 4.0 revolution. And recent studies in the literature shows that with the huge explosion in the technologies all around us, either starting from cloud computing, big data, and either artificial intelligence algorithms and data analytics and Internet of Things, and the huge amount of available data right now in different fields, many researchers look at digital twin as an enabling technology in order to provide a data-driven decision making, which is the ultimate purpose for different organizations and countries worldwide nowadays. And in order to answer the 5 W's for digital twins, I would like to start by clarifying a misunderstanding that has been discussed in the literature in one of the recent studies in this regard, which shows the misunderstanding between the concept of the digital twin and the other concepts, which are digital model and digital shadow. So to have to agree on one fundamental concept and be all on the same page, I would like to remind everyone with the digital model. The digital model, according to the representation and or according to what has been mentioned in the literature, means that it is a digital representation for an existing object or system in the real life. But this digital model, once it's developed, it will not be reflecting for any change or updates that appear in the actual object in real life or in the actual system. Whereas the digital shadow, it's a digital system or a digital model that reflects the changes that happen in the objects in real life. However, it only shows the changes and the updates in one direction only, from the real life to the virtual world. And that's why it's called digital shadow. However, the digital twin, which is a digital replica for an actual twin or real twin in real life, whether it is living or non-living object, will reflecting the updates and changes that takes place either in the actual or reality and in the real world or in the virtual world in bi-directional manner. So there is a simultaneous synchronization between the real world and the actual world, and which will bridge the border that exists currently in the current technology. So any change in the virtual world or any change in the that appear in the digital twin, whether there are new prediction according to the continuously collected data, they are provided right away to the real twin and vice versa. And that was discussed in details by Dr. Fadwa earlier in terms of developing a digital twins for individual health and well-being. So the actual or the purpose for digital twin in industry, which is already has been there since 1970, where NASA in April 1970 built the first digital twin ever for Apollo 13, a spaceship. The most or the ultimate purpose behind that was optimizing the performance and solve the problem for that spaceship. However, in industry, the term of digital twin is in actual use for optimizing the performance of machine by proactive and predictive maintenance. And actually that happens and take place here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. As Dr. Al-Nasser mentioned that in Aramco, Saudi oil company that is well known worldwide, they've been using digital twin and utilize this technology since long time ago for optimizing the operation and the maintenance and predicting the failure. However, the new initiative right now, as mentioned previously, is to take this concept from the industry and apply it for the human, for the good of the human, in terms of health and well-being, or in the environment that they live in, which is smart cities. And this is one of the published and highly cited definitions in this regard. So, in general, who will benefit and when and where digital twins will be used? Recent stats shows that the digital twin will be the actual realization of all AI advancement that takes place around us currently, and it will be the reality in the near future, next 5 to 10 years. Digital twin will be a well-known and concept that everyone has to interact with, either as an individual, a citizen, or as member in the community, or as citizens in cities and countries. And as you can see here from the pictures, smart cities are on the top fields that will benefit and actually are using or utilizing the concept of digital twins toward enhancing the quality of life in the smart cities. Also, health and well-being, as mentioned and presented earlier today with Dr. Fadwa. Also in the financial world, in aviation, in all different aspects that are helping or serving the good, the wellness of human being in their everyday life, digital twins will exist. So why digital twins? Always numbers gives us the truth about what's going on. According to Gartner, digital twin is considered as the third of the top 7 technological trends for 2022 in their end of the year 2022 report. And they mentioned that the market for digital twin enabling software and services is expected to reach 150 billion worldwide by 2030, up to from 9 billion only in 2022. And that shows the importance of this technology and its bright future in the upcoming years, inshallah. And that's for the general overview and for an introductory purpose for this presentation. Now, checking the literature or going back to the literature in a recent paper, it shows that the publications and the academic society are focusing on the concept of and the technology of digital twins in the publications and working toward developing this for multiple purposes. And as you can see, in a recent publication, it shows that most of the publication, which is 66%, are there towards serving the manufacturing purposes. However, the next percentage for publication, it goes for smart cities, which support the fact that digital twin technology, it's really a promising and potential technology for developing efficient and enhanced smart cities that facilitate everyone's everyday life. And with 19% of these publication and 15% in healthcare. So, in general, digital twins for smart cities, it's all about data. The more data that are gathered from Internet of Things, sensors, and provided from the actuator, we can guarantee that effective digital twins and advanced AI algorithms will exist in the cities in order to provide advanced services for users. However, the major challenge is the ability of services and structures within a smart city to have sensors and to be monitored. And that's why, because as I mentioned before, the efforts nowadays or still currently is to change or to convert the actual traditional city into smart cities by deploying and utilizing sensors and actuators and all Internet of Things different devices. However, the future cities, digital twins are representing the part or major part of their infrastructure, as I mentioned in the NEOM, in the line New City in NEOM. Now I will give a brief overview of what I did regarding utilizing digital twins as an enabler technology for smart cities in my thesis. Before talking about that, I would like to give you a brief overview about my thesis, in which I devise a DNA paradigm for modeling health digital twins for citizens in smart cities. And as I mentioned, and Dr. Fadwa already mentioned before, we had humongous amount of data available everywhere that need to be utilized in order to provide proactive services that help people to enhance their health and well-being and consequently enhance their everyday life and improve the quality of life in general. And referring to the literature shows that there was no unified model for modeling the citizens' health digital twins that can act as a base for developing the digital twin for citizens as individuals or members in a community or as a city in general, that satisfy the first characteristic for a smart city, for a digital twin, which should be uniquely identified. So the question that arose at that moment, or at the beginning of my research, is how can we design a unified model of citizens' health digital twins that takes into consideration health data at different levels, which I mean as an individual level or as a member in a community or for all citizens among or all over the city, and perceive their unique identity as citizens. Based on the biological DNA concept that we are all familiar with, which is the four main bases, the adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, I proposed a digital twin DNA paradigm to build health digital twins of citizens by making an analogy between the biological DNA model that we are all familiar with, which is a well-known model, and the proposed digital twin DNA model, and by conducting an extensive literature review in order to define the influencing factors, I found that the four influencing factors to define the four bases of digital twin DNA are discussed in the following slides. It shows that the human characteristics as citizens in a city who perform various health tasks and authorities who regulate health services in the city are an influencing factor in developing the digital twin DNA of the city toward having the actual digital twin for the city. Also, the task that actual citizens performed as individuals or member in the community, or tasks that are regulated by the city authority on group and city level, is another influencing factor. And the context at the time of data collection is another influencing factor in addition to the geographical data, which are the spatial and temporal data of the city. They are all influencing factors that affects the formatting of the digital twin of any smart city. And therefore, I provided and developed this mapping between the DNA and the digital twin DNA. So in actual life or in the real twin, we have citizens either as an individual, and every single one has his own DNA that nobody else has it, and which is act as an unique identifier for a citizen. And also we have the DNA for citizens as a member in the community, whether being a child or an elder person or an active athlete or another member in the society, or a mother or a pregnant woman, all different communities or different categories for the communities in the cities are also have their unique identity. And the city itself has its own identity in real twin or in real life. Therefore, we propose the citizen digital twin DNA on an individual level, as well as the community digital twin DNA for the community level, and the city digital twin DNA toward building the full digital twin for the smart city. And the task should be standardized, as presented earlier today by Dr. Fadwa, for individual as well as for communities and the smart city itself. And we will talk about the standard that we utilized in this for this purpose later in this presentation. And that represent the T base in the proposed digital twin DNA. The A represent on the city level the authority that regulate all different aspects and different operations in the smart city itself, and whether it's on the community level or on the city level in general, which is defined by the government type, the municipality, and the city council, and different actors and factors that are defined in the standard that we will talk about later. The context, as I mentioned, it's representing the context of data collection. And for the smart city level, the environmental context has been defined by the ISO standard that we utilized in order to provide standardized data for developing the digital twin DNA. And the G-based representing the geotemporal data for the city, which is defined by the continent, the country, the city, and the year of data collection. So this diagram shows the proposed digital twin DNA-based framework to build the health digital twin for citizens, whether as individual or as member in the community or for the smart city in general. And as you can see, for the city level health data, we collected the data from World Council on City Data, a World Council of City Data, which has all the data for the city that are adhering to the ISO 37120 standard, which is the sustainable and community standard that defines the quality of life. And then the collected data will pass through the data standardization module in order to guarantee that all the collected data has been standardized, so we can utilize the developed digital twin wherever in the world. And after that, the standardized data are passed to the data analytics module, and in which the AI algorithms takes place and provide the findings that are fed to the digital twin DNA modeling module in order to build the authority-based digital twin DNA for the smart city and provide the visualization later. For the proof of concept, I will talk specifically here about the case study for building the digital twin DNA paradigm for Quebec City versus Boston City in Canada and the United States. In this case study, as I mentioned, the data has been collected from the World Council for City Data Portal because all the collected data are for the certified cities according to the ISO 37120 standard, which is the Sustainable Cities and Communities standard that provide indicators for city services and quality of life in the smart city. And at that step, actually, we provide or we propose indicator code for every single indicator, and then we've coded the value for Quebec City and Boston City. And by using some of the alignment algorithms that has been used in the bioinformatics, I was able to feed it to that algorithm and reach to findings that are matching with what we have in the benchmarking data. So the modeling of the digital twin DNA for Quebec City, the services status in Boston and Quebec City are comparable. However, in Boston, by like showing the values for the geotemporal or G base and the C base, and aligning, as mentioned, for the DNA sequences for both cities using MatchJat tool shows that the similarities is 48.7% as the identity percentage of the health services level in both cities as of the data that were collected in 2017, which implies that one of these cities is better than the other. And by investigating the result, we found that Quebec City is worse than Boston in terms of health services based on the ISO standard in that year. So to sum up, I would like to highlight some of the most recent challenges that has been discussed in literature toward developing digital twins, which is fairly applicable in the term of developing digital twins for smart cities. The first challenge is the IT infrastructure. The second challenge is data in general, in terms of the ability of data collections for smart cities and data filtering and preparation and all related aspects and operations for data science. The third concept or the third challenge is the privacy and security in terms of building the digital twins for the smart cities and the expectations for client as well as for investors in this regard, and also the standardized modeling for smart cities in general, because what I've present is an initial step toward building the whole digital twin for a given smart city by working on the DNA for the smart city itself. And right now we found that there are many cities are working toward this purpose, and many countries accommodating this great objective, and Singapore and the Netherlands are two examples of these countries that are accommodating the concept of building digital twins for their cities. And right now in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, there are many efforts toward building the digital twins for major cities, which is a very promising initiative in this regard. And that's it. Thank you very much for your attention, and you're more than welcome to ask me any question. Thank you. I hope I didn't go way beyond the available time for me.
No, you are on time.
Okay,
Thank you, Dr. Hawazin, for your speech and introducing the new technology, digital twins in smart city and in other sectors. So, do you have any question for Dr. Hawazin? أي سؤال لدكتورة هوازن؟ Okay, so now we introduce our second speaker in the Smart City track, Ms. Rana Tarabishi. She is a lecturer at the College of Computer Science and Engineering at Taiba University since 2015. Ms. Rana received master's degree in artificial intelligence from the School of Computer Science and Engineering in University of New South Wales in Australia. Her research interest areas are healthcare informatics, Internet of Things, smart cities, and the ethical social issue of digitization. Ms. Rana will start her talk. So the stage is yours, Ms. Rana.
تمام، شكرا دكتور سماح. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. معكم رنا طرابيشي. سأتحدث اليوم بمشيئة المولى عز وجل عن القضايا الأخلاقية المتعلقة بالمدن الذكية. يعني حقيقة لا يخفى يعني على أحد والجميع ملاحظ الوتيرة المتسارعة في استثمار التقنيات الحديثة إن كان من إنترنت الأشياء أو الذكاء الاصطناعي وغيرها في بناء مدن ذكية. يعني أصبح مصطلح المدن الذكية من المصطلحات الشائعة يعني مؤخرا. لا يخفانا كيف دخلت التقنية في جميع القطاعات تقريبا: صناعة، طاقة، إمداد طاقة، الأمن، التعليم، البناء، صحة، نقل المياه إلى آخره. يعني أصبحت التقنية الذكية في جميع القطاعات حولنا. يعني أصبح المواطن أو الشخص أو الإنسان العادي يمكنه مراقبة حركة المرور عن طريق جواله، مخزون الثلاجة، يستطيع التحكم في غسالته من منزله إلى آخره. يستطيع الآن المشاركة في الدورات التدريبية كما يحصل الآن، والتي تنعقد على بعد كيلوات الأمتار، كيلومترات الأمتار وأميال عبر الإنترنت. حقيقة هذه التقنيات فتحت باب الجدل نحو القضايا الأخلاقية المتعلقة بها. هذا الجدل لا يدور فقط في الأوساط العلمية، تعدى ذلك إلى العموم، كون خدمات المدينة الذكية وعناصرها شملت الجميع، وعليه ظهرت العديد من الأوراق العلمية والمقالات والآراء التي تخوض في هذا الموضوع. قسمت عرضي هنا لثلاث أجزاء رئيسية. أولاً حستعرض تعريف المدينة الذكية، ما هي المدينة الذكية، حتى نكون تصور واضح عما يقصد بالمدن الذكية، وبالتالي نتمكن من مناقشة قضاياها. كامتداد للتعريف بماهية المدينة الذكية، سأستعرض بعضاً من ملامح المدينة الذكية، والتي يعني إذا ما توفرت قلنا عنها ذكية، لأنتقل بعدها إلى أساس موضوعنا، وهو أخلاقيات المدن الذكية. في نهاية العرض سأكون سعيدة لاستقبال أي مناقشات وأفكار في الموضوع. الآن خلونا نبدأ.
أستاذة رنا، ما في صوت، عامل المايك ميوت.
من متى دكتور سماح؟ من البداية أو الآن؟
عن تعريف المدن الذكية.
عند تاريخ المدن الذكية.
تعريف.
تمام.
أيوة، عن تعريفها.
تمام. تمام. فزي ما قلنا إنه المدينة الذكية يعني مصطلح بدأ يظهر في التسعينات مع ظهور التقنيات الحديثة، مع ظهور الإنترنت. قلنا بالرغم من إنه ما في اتفاق موحد على التعريف، إلا إنه في اتفاق على ضرورة وجود عناصر معينة أو توفر عناصر معينة في المدينة الذكية حتى نقول عنها أنها ذكية. عندنا عشرات التعاريف، لكن اخترت 3 تعاريف خلونا نستعرضها سوا. في عندنا التعريف اللي أصدرته اليوروبيان كوميشن، كانت بتقول إنه المدينة الذكية هي مكان يتم فيه زيادة كفاءة الشبكات والخدمات التقليدية باستخدام الحلول الرقمية لصالح سكانها وأعمالها. اختصروا في إنه كيف نبغى نستخدم الشبكات والتقنية لتحسين جودة الحياة، واكتفوا. معهد IMD عرف المدينة الذكية بأنها منطقة حضرية أصبحت أكثر كفاءة أو أكثر صداقة للبيئة أو أكثر شمولاً اجتماعياً من خلال استخدام التقنيات الرقمية. الهدف من المدينة الذكية تحسين جاذبيتها للمواطنين أو الشركات وتعزيز أو إضافة خدمات للمدينة. لو أضفنا تعريف الويكيبيديا كونه يعني حقيقة وجدت إنه أكثر تعريف جذبني ويعني وجدته شامل لجميع عناصر المدينة الذكية في هذا التعريف، وهو يقارب لتعريف IMD: منطقة حضرية حديثة تقنيا تستخدم أنواع مختلفة من الأساليب الإلكترونية وطرق تنشيط الصوت وأجهزة الاستشعار لجمع بيانات محددة، وتستخدم المعلومات المكتسبة من تلك البيانات لإدارة الأصول والموارد والخدمات بكفاءة. في المقابل يتم استخدام هذه البيانات لتحسين العمليات في جميع أنحاء المدينة. فعليا هنا بيحدد بالضبط إيش يعني مدينة ذكية. إحنا حنستخدم أجهزة استشعار أو اللي هي الحساسات أو السنسورز، تمام، اللي هي إنترنت الأشياء، شبكة من إنترنت الأشياء. حنبدأ نجمع معلومات. مدينة ذكية فيها أجهزة استشعار، فيها كاميرات، فيها أساليب تقنية مختلفة عشان نبدأ نجمع بيانات كبيرة، بيج داتا. نبدأ نحلل هذه البيانات عشان نبدأ نطلع نتائج ونبدأ نستخدم هذه البيانات في تحسين جودة الحياة. يعني المدينة الذكية عادة عندنا بتستخدم خوارزميات الذكاء الاصطناعي في تخزين وتحليل هذه البيانات والربط بينها. فعليا تخيلوها كأنها شبكة من إنترنت الأشياء فعليا بتنظم بواسطة تقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي. أحد أهدافها توفير سبل الراحة لساكنيها، مثلا تسهيل حركة دون اختناقات مرورية إلى آخره. في البعض يرى أنه أحد أهداف الرئيسية للمدن الذكية أنها تحقق قضايا متعلقة بتوفير الطاقة، الحفاظ على البيئة وما إليه. إذن إحنا استعرضنا الآن سوياً ما هي المدينة الذكية. خلونا نشوف أكثر إيش هي المدينة الذكية عن طريق استعراض سريع للملامح اللي تميز المدينة الذكية. المدينة الذكية عادة تكون مدينة فيها حوكمة ذكية، وهذا الشيء لمسناه يعني حقيقة فترة كورونا، ما قبل كورونا وما بعد كورونا، كيف أصبحت يعني جميع الأمور محوكمة بشكل ذكي. يعني أصبحنا لا نحتاج أن نزور البنوك بالطريقة اللي كنا عليها أول، لا نحتاج أن نزور الدوائر الحكومية، الجهات. يعني أصبحت كل أمورنا نستطيع إتمامها وإنجازها من منازلنا في أي مكان كنا. عندنا المدينة الذكية اللي بتساعد على أو بتحقق تنقل ذكي، بحيث إنها تدير منظومة النقل، المرور عبر التقنيات الحديثة، إدارة مواقف السيارات إلى آخره. المدينة الذكية هي مدينة بتوفر لنا أبنية ذكية، يعني وحتى لو ما كانت الأبنية الحديثة اللي بتساعد في توفير الطاقة وبتحقق يعني عناصر معينة، حتى لو كنا في الأبنية القديمة فإحنا في منازلنا أصبحت متوفرة لدينا أجهزة ذكية تحقق معايير المدينة الذكية، إن كان أجهزة اللي هي غسالة، ثلاجة، أجهزة الكمبيوتر إلى آخره، كلها كيف بتحقق لنا تكاملية مع بعض بحيث إنه نكون منزل ذكي من منزل عادي تقليدي. وزي ما قلنا قبل شوية، عندنا أحد المعايير اللي بيضعها البعض عشان نقول عن المدينة إنها مدينة ذكية: الطاقة والبيئة الذكية. كيف ممكن المدينة عندنا توفر الطاقة؟ كيف ممكن نستخدم بيئة ذكية بحيث نحافظ على البيئة عن طريق استخدام مثلا الرياح، الطاقة الشمسية إلى آخره، وهذا مما يساعد في تحقيق استدامة في المدن الذكية. كل هذه الشغلات ما يمكن تتحقق إذا ما كان عندنا بنية تحتية ذكية. إذن وجود بنية تحتية ذكية حيساعدنا تماماً على تحقيق جميع هذه العناصر. بما إنه استعرضنا كده بشكل سريع إيش يعني مدينة ذكية وإيش ملامحها، خلونا ننتقل سوياً إلى الموضوع الرئيسي لهذه الجزئية، اللي هو موضوع القضايا الأخلاقية ذات الصلة والتحديات التي تواجه المدن الذكية. أول موضوع ممكن يفكر به الجميع لما نتكلم عن المدن الذكية: الخصوصية. يعني بالرغم من إنه الكاميرات بتزودنا بمزايا كبيرة جدًا، يعني طرق وخوارزميات للتعرف على الأوجه، تساعدنا في تقليل نسبة الجريمة، زيادة الأمان، وغيرها الكثير من الخدمات، إلا أن البعض على الصعيد المقابل يرون أنها تخرق الخصوصية. حقيقة المشكلة الرئيسية هنا والمعضلة تتمثل في إنه كل ما حبينا وسعينا لإن نرفع كفاءة المدينة الذكية، حنحتاج إنه نزيد حجم البيانات اللي ممكن نحصلها أو اللي ممكن نعالجها، وبالتالي هذا يؤدي إنه مساحة الخصوصية بتتقلص. يعني البيانات أو المعلومات اللي أصبح يعني سكان المدن الذكية بيستطيعوا إنهم يحافظوا على خصوصيتها أصبحت قليلة جدا جدا. يعني المدن الذكية بترصد حركاتهم طول اليوم، تنقلاتهم، تسوقهم للبضائع المختلفة، الحالة البدنية، الحالة الصحية، قضايا كثير بترصدها المدن الذكية بمجرد ما يكون الشخص بيحاول إنه يرتبط بخدمات المدينة الذكية. ففعلا أصبح الآن في بحوث كثيرة في هذا الموضوع ودراسات أكاديمية وتقارير بتسعى إنها تعالج هذا الموضوع. القضية هنا مو إنه هل المدينة الذكية كويسة أو لا، القضية هنا إنه كيف يعني ندرس هذه القضايا حتى نستطيع وضع الحلول، حتى نستطيع معالجتها واقتراح بعض الحلول. هذه بالنسبة للنقطة الأولى. نقطة ثانية أو قضية ثانية، قضية العدالة. العدالة عندنا أحد المؤشرات اللي بتقاس بها المدن الذكية، يعني هي أحد المعايير عندنا المهمة. كيف إنه المدينة الذكية يعني أحد أهدافها إنها تحقق العدالة الاجتماعية، مثلا تكون في منازل بأسعار مناسبة متوفرة للجميع، يكون مثلا الإنترنت متوفر للجميع، وهكذا. هذه أمثلة يعني على تحقيق العدالة الاجتماعية. لكن فعليا يعني نجد المنتقدون يعني لنموذج المدينة الذكية يرون أنه استخدام التكنولوجيا ووسائل التواصل الحديثة حيزيد ويعزز الفجوة اللي فعلا موجودة بين الأغنياء والفقراء. فجوة الرقمية هذه موجودة لأسباب عدة، قد لا تكون فقط إنه أغنياء وفقراء، قد تكون طبعا أحد الأسباب إنه يكونوا أغنياء أو فقراء بمعنى إنه شخص لا يستطيع تحمل تكاليف الخدمات التي تقدمها المدينة الذكية، لكن في بعضهم بالأساس ما يقدروا يوصلوا للخدمات. يعني الموضوع هنا مش يرتبط فقط بقدرة الأفراد على امتلاك الوسائط الذكية، لا، ترتبط بكفاءة البنية التحتية اللي موجودة، مدى موازنتها جغرافيا ومدى توزيعها جغرافيا، لأنه في بعض المناطق في المدن الذكية تعاني من أنه البنية التحتية عندهم ضعيفة ووصولهم للخدمات والشبكة ضعيف جدا. هنا أيضا نتحدث عن المهارات التقنية للأفراد المرتبطة بمستوياتهم التعليمية ومهاراتهم التقنية وما إليه. يعني المساواة الرقمية هنا ما نقدر نحددها كيف ممكن تحقق ضبطا مع يعني مجتمع قد يكون في المهارات الرقمية عند أفراده متباينة بشكل كبير. هذا بالنسبة للقضية الثانية. القضية الثالثة اللي هي إحلال الآلة مكان البشر. يعني هنا يعني حتقودنا لمعضلة أخرى اللي هي إنه نسبة البطالة حتزيد. يعني الانتشار الواسع للتكنولوجيا للآلات الذكية في النهاية قد يكون على حساب البشر، قد يكون على حساب وظائفهم التقليدية أو الوظائف اللي بتكون موجودة عندهم، قد يكون يعني في مهن كثيرة أو وظائف كثيرة مهددة بالانقراض، قد لا تكون بعد الآن. يعني مثلا متوقع إنه ممكن بعد سنوات ما نحتاج قائدي سيارات، أو ما نحتاج شرطة مرور، أو ما نحتاج يعني مسيرين أو قائدي القطارات أو المحاسبين أو موظفي الاستقبال. كل الوظائف التي يمكن استبدالها بالآلة، كون الآلة يعني بتشتغل بلا كلل بلا ملل بلا تعب، الدقة في الأداء، الجودة في المعطيات، كلها متوفرة من مخرجات الآلة، وبالتالي قد يتم استبدالها دائما إذا ما توفرت الشروط التي تسمح باستبدال الآلة، بالتالي قد تزيد من نسبة البطالة. في هذه النقطة نجد إنه في الجانب الآخر يعني اللي بينظر للموضوع من زاوية أخرى بيقولوا إنه أوكي، طب هي البطالة حتزيد، يعني بعض المهن حتقل، لكن بالتالي بالمقابل عفوا الجزء التقني أو المدن الذكية حتوفر وظائف أخرى من النواحي في النواحي التقنية، حتحتاج إنه تخلق وظائف جديدة ما كانت موجودة سابقا، وبالتالي حتوفر وظائف بديلة. طب هنا يجي، هل الوظائف البديلة مناسبة للوظائف التي يعني دثرت؟ الآن لما يكون موظف بيشتغل في الوظائف التقليدية العادية، أجي أقول له تعال أشتغل في وظيفة خلقت الآن ضمن المدن الذكية، هل لديه من المهارات والإمكانيات اللي تخليه يقدر إنه يشتغل في الوظيفة الجديدة، أو حتحتاج مهارات معينة؟ كل هذه الموضوعات يعني حتخلق يعني إرباك في سوق العمل على الأقل لفترة معينة لسنوات معينة، إلى ما تبدأ الركائز توضع بشكل جيد. طبعا مجرد ما يكون في بطالة زيادة أو في عدم استقرار في سوق العمل، هذا حيخلق عواقب وأضرار نفسية واجتماعية. الموضوع هنا يحتاج دراسة، وفعلا بدأوا يصدروا دراسات في هذا الموضوع، بدأوا يصدروا مقالات وآراء في هذا ونقاشات، بدأوا يفتحوا الباب للنقاش في هذا الموضوع، وحتى من سنوات، يعني مش شيء جديد، ولكن بتزيد هذه الكتابات وبتزيد هذه البحوث والدراسات مع السنوات. بعد كده عندنا آخر يعني قضية سأتحدث عنها اليوم، اللي هي المزيد من مخلفات التكنولوجيا. بالرغم من أنه البعض بيرى أنه أحد أهم مقومات المدينة الذكية وأحد أهم عناصر اللي لازم توفرها المدينة الذكية إنها توفر طاقة نظيفة وتحافظ على البيئة، نجد في المقابل أنه مع زيادة الأجهزة اللي بنستخدمها، ومع زيادة التقنيات اللي بنستخدمها، الأجهزة ومخلفات التكنولوجيا هذه حتسبب تلوث بيئي، حتزيد من المشاكل البيئية. فهذه قضية يعني أخرى تحتاج للدراسة. هناك حقيقة العديد من القضايا التي يعني تتعلق بالمجتمع وتتعلق بالقضايا الأخلاقية ذات الصلة بالمدن الذكية، ولكن اخترت منها أبرزها، واخترت منها يعني ما تم تناوله بشكل كبير جدا ضمن الدراسات الحديثة، أو الدراسات أو يعني المشاكل اللي استمرت من سنوات وإلى الآن ما زالت تدرس، وما زالت يعني بيوضع لها مجموعة من الحلول. بالنسبة لي الخصوصية، يعني لو عدنا مرة أخرى للخصوصية، كونها يعني من أكبر القضايا اللي بنتكلم فيها عادة لما نتكلم عن الذكاء الاصطناعي أو المدن الذكية، في جزء آخر اللي هو ملكية البيانات. يعني مين اللي بيملك البيانات فعليا؟ مين اللي كيف ممكن أحافظ على بياناتي؟ الآن إحنا أي موقع بندخله يجمع كوكيز، أي موقع بندخله بيجمع بيانات من عندي. طب أي موقع بندخله يقول لك اتفاقية، يقول لنا اتفاقية الخصوصية أو قواعد الخصوصية. أتوقع ولا أحد فينا بيقرأ هذه الاتفاقيات لأنها طويلة جدا، والمواقع اللي بنزورها كثيرة جدا. فكيف ممكن تسن قواعد أو تسن يعني نظم معينة بحيث أنه تحافظ على هذه الخصوصية، ونستطيع يعني معرفة فعليا ماذا يحصل للبيانات، وكيف يتم التعاطي مع هذه البيانات بدون ما نقرأ هذه الاتفاقيات الكبيرة. هل الهدف عندنا هنا كان من دراسة التحديات والقضايا الأخلاقية إننا نقول إنها شيء سيء، أو إنه المدن الذكية يعني هل تنفع أو ما تنفع؟ لا أبدا، يعني أكيد إنه يعني ما أعطتنا إياه المدن الذكية أكبر بكثير يعني من القضايا التي نتحدث عنها، جودة الحياة، رفاهية العيش إلى آخره. يعني كل هذه الأشياء يعني تغطي على التحديات أو السلبيات، ولكن القضية هنا يعني أن نضع أيدينا على هذه القضايا وعلى هذه النقاط حتى نتناولها بالدراسة ونقترح الحلول مع المحافظة على عناصر المدينة الذكية. بهذا انهيت ما أود الحديث عنه اليوم، وأفتح باب النقاش لمن أراد أن يشارك في الموضوع. طبعا هذه مجموعة المراجع التي تم استخدامها في هذا العرض. شكرا لاستماعكم وشكرا لحضوركم. في أمان الله.
شكرا لكم أستاذة رنا على الحديث الممتع والشيق وتسليط الضوء على القضايا الأخلاقية والاجتماعية في المدن الذكية. أي سؤال لأستاذة رنا؟ طيب أعتقد لا توجد أسئلة أو مشاركات. We can move now to our third track, Women in Space, and we are happy to introduce our speaker, Dr. Iman Al-Atawi. Dr. Iman is an assistant professor at Taiba University. Dr. Iman will give us a talk about leveraging data science for space technologies and earth science. Dr. Iman, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم سيدنا ونبينا محمد عليه وعلى آله وعلى أصحابه أفضل الصلوات وأتم التسليم. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for organizing this event and giving me an opportunity to meet and discuss with all the students and researchers interested in data science. To begin with, actually, with our country's effort in expanding the horizon of space exploration and inspire the future generation to unlock the potential that space holds, I think it's important to raise the awareness and guide the researchers to explore this area. There are lots of potentials there. There are lots of research that is undertaken using data science technologies, particularly machine learning, in the area of space and earth sciences. So, inshallah, in today's talk, I'm planning to shed the light on the important research directions in these two fields. What is the work that is already done there? What are the challenges and the opportunities that we can find as researchers in order to equip us and to prepare ourselves in order to work in the future on lots of such or similar data that can be resulted from Saudi space explorations, inshallah. So to begin with now, actually data is all around us. New technologies and devices can collect large quantities of data. Think about the satellite images, for example. These kind of data hold great insights, not only about the present moment, but also about the potential future as well. However, asking a human to continuously monitor and look to the global or even local live feed of imagery is unfeasible and impractical. This is where machine learning enters the equation. Unlike humans, computers, and more specifically machine learning models, excel at looking through large quantities of data, and more importantly, making sense of what the data represented by finding patterns. So, machine learning enables a machine to automatically learn from data, improve performance from experiences, and predict things without being explicitly programmed. So this is how machine learning can be defined generally. So as a result, the Earth and space science communities have adopted machine learning approaches to help them to tackle pressing questions and large amount of the datasets. In many ways, actually, Earth and space sciences represent a very good use case for machine learning applications because the problem that we are trying to solve and we are trying to address, such for example, climate change, weather forecasting, and natural hazard assessment, for example, they are globally important. And the data that are often freely available, and this is a very important thing. So the data are available for free. Free computational languages and machine learning code libraries are also available and they are accessible. They are contributing to making the entry barriers lower to this field than ever before. Despite that, it has been observed that scientists and students interested in applying machine learning techniques to to space and earth sciences don't have a clear sense of how to do so. So the aim today, inshallah, is to talk about machine learning in Earth and space sciences. We will shed the light on the most important techniques that are used, what are the challenges and the opportunities. In fact, since 1960s, mankind has attained vast accomplishment in exploring the outer space around us. The aim of such space activities is to facilitate our life on Earth and to explore our frontiers as far as we can. Besides breakthrough in space technologies, there are massive data has been collected through the various space missions. In order to benefit from these data, we need to invest in every space program and mission, and the data need to be exploited, need to be used, analyzed to the maximum. In the last decade, machine learning has emerged as one of the most promising complements to traditional data analysis and modeling methods in scientific fields. In one of the examples that show us the impact or the benefit of using machine learning in space technologies is that the first image of a black hole was captured by applying machine learning algorithm to petabytes of data collected from 8 telescopes. So, space missions operate usually in extremely challenging environments. So, in order to understand the big task in the front of machine learning techniques, we need to understand first the space operations. What are the obstacles in space operations and how they impact our research to find solutions to these challenges? So, space missions usually operate in a very harsh environment, either for both human or robotics explorers. Due to the risk that is involved there and the distance, exploration is most often carried out remotely. For the future, the only way is to work remotely to investigate or to observe stars and planets, moons, and other objects in the space. And that's put a pressure on machine learning. So what does that mean? Machine learning needs to work on making autonomy possible for any kind of space operations. So for that, first, we need to consider the factors that represent the goals for autonomous operation in space. Remote spacecraft generally operate under severe computational constraints. So any solution that we provide using machine learning need to consider that. The processors, the memories that are used on the machines there, they are far behind the ones that we are using in our computers these days. And that increase the cost because that is resulted as a result from the radiations and hardening process that is required on such kind of machines. Second, the space missions have an extremely high cost of failure. So not only it is expensive to develop and launch, but there's a little or no opportunity for external aid or repair. That put a pressure on autonomy. So any autonomy provided by machine learning or artificial intelligence techniques must be provably reliable. They need to be reliable. They need not to pose any threat on the spacecraft station, keeping health and core operations work normally without any hazards. Third factor that impact the autonomous operations autonomy is that the space missions often experience extremely long communication times between the spacecraft and the nearest human expert. What does that mean? Or what's the implication of that? That kind of delays puts a pressure on machine learning solutions that they need to provide correct decisions. Decisions that are built on machine learning techniques need to be correct. Why? Because maybe you will not have a real-time human oversight. You may not have a real-time feedback on them. So as a result of all these three factors, we can say that there is an explicit need for adaptability, reasoning, and generalization from the past experience, renders the space a challenging applications area that provide a prime opportunity for machine learning. So when we develop a solution for space operations, we need to consider these 3 factors that will impact its autonomy. In fact, autonomous operation enables a remote spacecraft to observe its environment and make independent decisions about which actions to take, which data to collect, and what to transmit back to Earth. These capabilities, despite they are starting to be implemented in robots and instruments that are used in space, they are still in early days or in its infancy stage. Autonomous terrains, for example, navigation has improved on Mars exploration rovers that you can see on this picture. By using machine learning algorithms, they were able to improve them, enable them to traverse significantly more terrain and increase their science return. Machine learning algorithms and technologies used there direct the rovers in order to, to understand or identify the interesting rocks formation so they can send information about them. So this is an example of early usage of machine learning on devices or instruments that are used in space in order to collect data. Regarding the status of the machine learning in space, we can say that the space is rapidly transforming into a data-rich field. With missions in the next 10 years, they are planned to collect larger and more detailed data sets than ever before. That means that the space community will have a larger amount of data sets to analyze and to study, and they will receive them within, in more frequent time than before. This can pose challenges to data analysis efforts that the machine learning can help to address in this regard. So the data from space missions and the field's interest in interpretable models pose challenges to immediate application of the shelf machine learning methods. So we can use the available machine learning methods, but we need to understand first the limitations, the advantages of these algorithms, and how they can help us to understand what kind of problems or what kind of answers that we can address or we can answer by using machine learning regarding the space problems. Actually, these challenges are shared by other fields as well, including earth science, the topic that we will talk about as well in this presentation. So challenges that are in the front of machine learning algorithms are equal in terms of the space exploration and either for earth science. Now, talking about how machine learning can be incorporated to effectively develop future missions. In fact, machine learning can be incorporated in every stage of the space mission lifecycle. So we can think of every step on the space mission lifecycle, and then we can think of a solution that can be accomplished or provided by the machine learning. First of all, when we talk about the mission development, data science techniques are already informing the design of missions currently under development. In addition, planning trajectories for missions is very critical. And this is a very complex and difficult task because trajectory design is constrained by vehicle configurations and fuel capacity. This leads us to face a non-trivial problem that can be computationally expensive. So machine learning can be used to improve accuracy and reduce computational cost of optimal trajectory design. So this is one of the areas where we can use machine learning to support space missions in terms of their development. Secondly, Earth and laboratory analog studies can be combined with machine learning to develop mission-like training dataset. This will help to explore a new environment that hasn't been explored before. And this style of transfer learning can be accomplished by machine learning. Initial landing site selection is labor-intensive and can be subject to human errors. So machine learning can be used in order to classify the service terrain across the large area to automate preliminary selection of potential sites. Moving to the mission operations and how we can incorporate machine learning in this stage or within this part of the space mission life cycle. In fact, that the data science techniques are already used to automate or assist science operations. So the data science techniques can automate these kind of operations, or assist in automating them. The use of the machine learning in tandem with onboard planning enable new mission architectures and exploring of high science value, high risk destinations compared to the status before. Using automated classification, science planners could filter new observations to review only those containing the features of interest. So they can find the interesting features quicker because they can filter the new observations that they will get. Prioritizing of the novel observation can also help to focus the scientist's attention to unusual phenomena to study it even more and respond within any follow-up observations while there is still opportunity to do so as long as they are there and they can collect more information. Onboard detection and summarization is as well another point in which we can use machine learning. This can greatly increase the number of observations containing these phenomena returned from the mission. So this approach has been used on several missions, including the delivery of the observation content summaries. So the content is summarized by using machine learning. Analysis is another stage. So the detection, characterization, and classification of within machine learning can systematically and autonomously identify the features of interest. In addition to that, we can use machine learning to group the features in clusters to understand even more, to find more interesting facts within the data. So now we come to the opportunities for machine learning in space. In addition to what we discussed before, image analysis can be used to recognize the features and to inform, for example, instrument targeting, navigation. Time series analysis can be used to fault detection or prediction of any anomalies in the scientific sensors. Classification can be used to surface type mapping, mineral composition estimation. Clustering can be used to identify any trends or outliers. Reinforcement learning can be an efficient way to support the exploration of new environments, identification of robotic solution to tasks. Active learning ranking can be used to prioritize or subsampling of the data, giving the limited downlink bandwidth. Active learning can help to select a new observational target. So, as you can see, there are many and unlimited opportunities for machine learning to be considered within space science. To have a positive impact of space applications, we need to understand how will existing machine learning methods perform. That's what I mentioned before. We need to study the things, the machine learning algorithms that we have now, understand their limitations, their capabilities, in order to see how we will meet these challenges and what changes we need to make. Among the challenges that we need to consider that we have on space instruments, space missions, the limited processing power that is there, limited memory capacity, high radiation environment, long round-trip communication delays, high cost of failure that require the reliability of any answers or results we get from data science. Embedded operation that require a minimal impact to computing, memory, and other onboard resources. This is also needed. As we said that space science and earth science, when it comes to using machine learning, they share the same challenges, the same problems that need to be solved. So in terms of the earth science, We can leverage the advances in artificial intelligence to revolutionize the Earth environment sciences. We must ensure that our research trying to help and inspire next generation to realize their potentials there. So we can solve many and unlimited problems using machine learning. So machine learning aims to uncover the transformation functions that maps the field of high interest, such as temperature, for example, precipitation, and others. So the development in the data science and the physical science associated with the simple statistical methodologies have left large gray area of uncovered relations that we need to understand them on Earth. So there are lots of phenomena, lots of observations that we can find, and many undiscovered relations that we can find many questions to answer about them. When it comes to the use of machine learning in earth science, we can summarize it in the following points. We can use machine learning for habitat modeling and species distribution, species identification, remote sensing, resource management, forecasting, environmental protection and safety, climate change studies. All these different areas that you can search more about the questions that are still there that can be addressed by machine learning. Now we come to the third point in this presentation. So if you are interested in doing research in space and Earth data science, so what are the steps that you need to follow? First of all, you need some of the domain knowledge. Why? To find the questions to ask, or to at least understand the questions that has been asked. Second, you need to be aware of the themes and the methods that are already there and used in order to support Earth and space science by machine learning. Among these topics, we have pattern identification, time series and spatiotemporal prediction, emulators and surrogates, for example. So traditionally, physical or physics-based simulations use it to model complex systems. But these models, they take long time, maybe days or weeks to run in order to get, answers or to get, solutions by using very high, or powerful computers. An alternative solution to this is to train the machine learning models to act as emulators for the physics-based models. And that's one of the users of emulators and surrogates in this regard. As well, we can boundaries and deriving conditions as well. Machine learning models can be trained to reflect the time varying parameterizations to achieve particular simulation. By setting the boundaries, by setting the conditions, you can get cheap computations and fast at the same time. So there are lots of themes, lots of methods that are used in the machine learning research. Interoperability and knowledge discovery, accelerating inversions, because sometimes we might need to invert observations of the physical entity or process into fundamental information in order to find the causes of the process. Historically, inverse problems require multiple runs of the model, which can be computationally expensive and often inaccurate. Machine learning here offers alternative methods to approach an inverse problem, either by using the emulators or by using physics-informed machine learning to discover any hidden quantities or information there. Creating high-resolution global data sets is one of the topics that are, there's lots of research on them. Uncertainty quantification, how we quantify any uncertainty that we might get from our proposed solution. Physics-informed neural network, finding and solving governing equations. So these are a collection of themes and methods that are used in the field. So after you get some of the domain knowledge, you need to be aware of the different methods that are used in the field. What are others, or what other researchers use in order to address problems in Earth and space. After that, you need to look for the data, which is really good about the standards that are used and adopted by many organizations like NASA. They try to make all the data that are collected from their missions, they make them freely available. And they started to shift to cloud computing in order to make them available under open standards. From where you can get that, they are freely available. One of the places you can go to Earth data. You can search for the data sets there. They provide some information about how to use them. The idea here is that they try to get other researchers involved in order to find different and creative observations about the collected data. Even if they didn't intended to collect them at the first place, you might find something else interesting that they miss, for example. And that's the idea of using that open standard or open policy. Then you need to be familiar with the popular tools, languages, and libraries, and they are all freely available. And there's a lot of communities that can support you in order to do your research, or you use these kind of libraries in your research. By this, we come to the end of this presentation. We shed the light on two important fields of research, Earth and space sciences. There's lots of applications for machine learning there, lots of opportunities and the challenges that we need to be aware of. And then we discussed 4 steps in order to be involved in this kind of research and to be a part of these communities that are working on this. Thank you very much for your attention. Please let me know if you have any question.
Yes, if any questions, please. I think no questions. Thank you, Dr. Iman, for the great presentation and enriching the knowledge about space technology and data science.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, our next session will be on. Yeah, our next session is a workshop session, data science in fintech. It will be presented by Ms. Aisha Al-Jabari and Ms. Sufan Al-Kushi. Ms. Aisha and Ms. Sufan are blockchain specialists at Taiba Valley, Medina. Over to you, Ms. Aisha and Ms. Sufan. You can take up the stage.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Leah. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا فيكم جميعا. معاكم عائشة الجابري، مهندسة برمجيات ومتخصصة في تقنية البلوكتشين. بإذن الله راح أكون معاكم أنا ومهندسة سفانة في ورشة عمل لاستكمال الحديث عن علم البيانات ودور أو تحديدا في قطاع التقنية المالية أو قطاع الفنتك. أيضا راح نتطرق للحديث عن تقنية البلوكتشين ودورها في تطوير قطاع التقنية المالية وتطبيقات التقنية المالية، وإيش هي الأبعاد اللي أضافتها تقنية البلوكتشين للتعامل مع المعلومات والبيانات وهذا الكم الهائل من المعلومات والبيانات في هذا القطاع. ففي البداية كنظرة عامة على مفهوم الفنتك أو مفهوم التقنية المالية، طبعا هذا المفهوم ظهر نتيجة التطور التقني اللي حاصل اليوم. فلو نرجع مثلا ل10 سنين في الماضي، كانت أغلب الخدمات المالية تقدم من قبل البنوك، فكانت هي اللي بتقدم لنا هذه الخدمات. اليوم التطور التقني ساعد في ظهور عدد من تطبيقات التقنية المالية اللي بتقدم لنا هذه الخدمات المالية. والجميل في الموضوع إنه كل تطبيق أو كل حل تقني بيركز على أحد هذه الخدمات المالية، فبالتالي التركيز على أحد هذه الخدمات المالية بيساهم في تقديم هذه الخدمات بشكل أكثر كفاءة، أكثر فاعلية. أيضاً التطوير المستمر في تقديم هذه الخدمات بيلبي حاجة المستخدمين وحاجة العملاء. فلو بنتكلم عن أبرز الخدمات المالية اللي موجودة اليوم عندنا مثلا في خدمات المدفوعات والتحويلات المالية، عندنا من أمثلة التطبيقات التقنية اللي موجودة عندنا تطبيق STC Pay ومدى باي. أيضا من الخدمات عندنا الإقراض والتمويل، عندنا تطبيق رقمية وتطبيق سلفة، وفي إدارة أو في الاستثمارات عندنا تطبيق تمرة وتطبيق أبيان. طبعا التطبيقات التقنيات المالية اللي موجود أكثر بكثير اللي موجودة اليوم في السوق، وحتى إذا موجودة يعني أكثر من تطبيق يقدم لنا نفس الخدمة، فكل تطبيق يكون عنده منهجية مختلفة، عنده مميزات مختلفة بتميزه عن بقية التطبيقات، بالتالي هي بتلبي حاجة جميع العملاء وجميع المستخدمين. هذه باختصار نظرة عامة على مفهوم الفنتك أو مفهوم التقنية المالية. طبعا الثورة اللي حصلت في هذا القطاع وظهور عدد كبير من التقنيات المالية اليوم أو من حلول التقنية اللي موجودة اليوم أدى بطبيعة الحال لازدياد عدد الطلب، ازدياد عدد المستخدمين، وبالتالي أدى لازدياد عدد البيانات والمعلومات اللي بتخزن في هذا القطاع. فهنا بيجي دور علم البيانات ودور تحليل البيانات وتقنيات البيج داتا وغيرها من التقنيات اللي بتساعدنا في النهاية في رفع جودة إذا استخدمناها بالشكل الصحيح في رفع جودة الخدمات المقدمة في القطاع التقنية المالية. فهي بتساعدنا مثلا لو تكلمنا في قطاع أو في التطبيقات التقنية المالية الخاصة بالاستثمارات، من هذه التقنيات بتساعدنا في بناء نماذج للتنبؤ مثلا في اتجاهات السوق أو في فرص الاستثمار أو في احتمالية الصعود والنزول. فهذه التقنيات أو التنبؤ بتوجه السوق بيساعدنا في بناء أو تطوير الحلول التقنية ورفع جودتها. أيضا بتساعدنا في إدارة المخاطر، فإحنا بنتنبأ بالمخاطر المحتملة اللي ممكن تحصل، بيكون عندنا مساحة من الوقت لإدارة هذه المخاطر قبل حدوثها طبعا، وأيضا في كشف الاحتيال سواء من غسيل الأموال أو غيرها من المشاكل. طيب اليوم إحنا كوننا في الثورة الصناعية الرابعة، وهي باختصار ظهور عدد من التقنيات الحديثة أو التقنيات الناشئة اللي اليوم ظهرت ويعني اندمجت في عالمنا الحقيقي. فاليوم التحدي اللي بيواجهوه شركات التقنية المالية هو كيفية توظيف هذه التقنيات في حلولهم التقنية أو في التطبيقات التقنية في قطاع التقنية المالية. فعندنا من التقنيات مثلا تقنيات الذكاء الاصطناعي، تقنيات البلوكتشين، تقنيات الإنترنت الأشياء، الحوسبة السحابية وغيرها من التقنيات. اليوم إحنا كيف نوظف هذه التقنيات في الحلول التقنية بحيث نرفع من جودة الخدمات المقدمة ونلبي حاجة العملاء وحاجة المستخدمين في هذا القطاع. إحنا اليوم رح نركز على أحد هذه التقنيات وهي تقنية البلوكتشين. رح نتكلم عن دورها في تطوير هذا القطاع. أيضا رح نستعرض تطبيق عملي لأحد التطبيقات اللي برمجناها بشكل مبسط، كيف ممكن ننشئ برنامج مبسط على تقنية البلوكتشين في قطاع التقنية المالية. طيب بداية كتعريف بسيط عن تقنية البلوكتشين. عادة إذا جيت أعرف تقنية البلوكتشين أنا أحب أقارنها في الوضع الحالي. فلو بنتكلم عن الشركات اليوم سواء شركات التقنية المالية أو غيرها من الشركات، في تطبيقاتها التقنية بيستخدمون سيرفرات محلية أو قواعد بيانات مملوكة لهذه الشركات بحيث تخزن البيانات والمعلومات في مكان واحد، بيتم إدارتها بشكل مباشر من قبل هذه الشركات. أي جهة خارج هذه المنظومة تحتاج أنها توصل لأحد هذه المعلومات، فأنا بحاجة لإذن من الشركة هذه اللي هي مالكة للقواعد البيانات بحيث تعطيني إذن أني أوصل لهذه المعلومات. فهذه باختصار طريقة اليوم الشركات في تخزين البيانات والمعلومات. فأنا كشخص إذا حصلت على إذن مثلا للدخول لهذه قواعد البيانات، فبإمكاني أني أغير أحد المعلومات أو البيانات، وصعب أنه يتم، يعني غالبا يكون صعب أنه يتم اكتشاف أنه في بيانات تغيرت أو تعدلت. تقنية البلوكتشين جاءت بمفهوم جديد أو صورة جديدة لتخزين البيانات. فقالت بدل ما أخزن هذه البيانات والمعلومات في مكان واحد ويكون مملوك لشركة واحدة، فأنا بإمكاني إني أخزن هذه البيانات في عدد من الأجهزة حول العالم. فهذه الأجهزة هي أجهزة المستخدمين اللي موجودين على الشبكة. فأنا كمستخدمة لهذا التطبيق أو موجودة على الشبكة بإمكاني إني أختار إني أساهم في حفظ نسخة من السجل الرقمي لهذه البيانات والمعلومات على جهازي الشخصي، وفي المقابل أكيد أنا راح أحصل يعني على مكافآت. فهذه الطريقة لحفظ البيانات في أكثر من جهاز حول العالم أول حاجة هو بيصعب عملية تغيير البيانات أو المعلومات بعد حفظها أو بعد نشرها على الشبكة، كون أن شبكة البلوكتشين أو هيكلة هذه التقنية تستخدم تقنيات تشفير معقدة جدا. فقبل ما يتم حفظ أو تخزين هذه البيانات يتم تشفيرها بشكل كامل. يعني حتى أنا كشخص أو مساهم في حفظ هذه البيانات أو المعلومات على جهازي الشخصي، أنا ما أقدر إني أغير أي من هذه البيانات. أنا أحتاج إني أدخل لكل جهاز موجود على الشبكة وأغير نفس البيانات بحيث إنها تتغير بشكل كامل، وهذا طبعا يعني يعتبر شبه مستحيل. فهي أمنت لي البيئة، وفرت لي بيئة موثوقة وبيئة آمنة لحفظ البيانات، وأيضا عدم المقدرية على تغيير أو تعديل البيانات بعد نشرها. هذه باختصار تعريف مبسط عن تقنية البلوكتشين. من المميزات اللي قدمتها لي تقنية البلوكتشين في التعامل مع هذا الكم الهائل من المعلومات والبيانات، أول حاجة مثل ما قلنا اللي هو تأمين البيانات باستخدام، وهذه تعتبر يعني من أهم المميزات اللي أضافتها لي تقنية البلوكتشين، إنه هيكلة هذه التقنية وتقنيات التشفير اللي بتستخدمها وطريقة تخزينها للبيانات وفرت لي تأمين كامل للبيانات. فأنا كشخص أستعرض البيانات على شبكة البلوكتشين، أنا أضمن إن جميع البيانات اللي أنا جالسة أستعرضها هي صحيحة 100%، لم يتم التلاعب فيها، لم يتم تغييرها أو التعديل عليها. أيضا من المميزات اللي أضافتها لي اللي هو استعراض أو الوصول لتفاصيل المعاملات. فمن أبسط مثلا المعاملات اللي ممكن تصير في قطاع التقنية المالية اللي هي التحويلات المالية، ففي السجل الرقمي في شبكة البلوكتشين أنا ممكن إني أستعرض جميع المعاملات. من ضمنها هذه المعاملة مثلا حدثت معاملة تحويل مالية أو تحويل مالي، فأنا بإمكاني إني أستعرض عنوان المحفظة للمرسل، عنوان المحفظة للمستقبل، المبلغ المالي اللي تم تحويله، الوقت والتاريخ، وجميع التفاصيل اللي ممكن أنا أحتاجها. فبالتالي ما في أي شخص يقدر ينكر حدوث هذه العملية أو إنه يعدل عليها أو يضيف عليها. أيضا من المميزات اللي أضافتها لي اللي هي سرعة الوصول للبيانات. عادة في التطبيقات أو الشركات التقنية دائما في جهات مثلا تدخل في تشغيل هذه الشركات وفي جهات تخرج. فأنا عشان أسرع عملية وصول هذه الشركات لهذه البيانات أو حتى المستخدمين، أسرع لهم عملية الوصول لهذه البيانات أو المعلومات، أنا عندي سجل مفتوح للجميع مشفر بشكل كامل، بإمكان أي جهة أنها توصل لهذه العملية. فبالتالي أنا بوفر وقت وبوفر جهد وبسرع من عملية اتخاذ القرارات. بالتالي أنا برفع من جودة الخدمات المقدمة في هذا القطاع. طيب هنا في نقطة نبغى ننوه عنها، هل تقنية البلوكتشين دائما هي الحل الأمثل أو الحل المناسب لجميع الحالات اللي موجودة أو التطبيقات اللي موجودة؟ طبعا لا، تقنية البلوكتشين هي حل لبعض المشاكل. فأنا عشان أستخدم تقنية البلوكتشين أنا أحتاج أدرس اليوز كيس بشكل كامل، أدرس المميزات والمساوئ في إذا تم تطبيق تقنية البلوكتشين على هذه الحالة، وبعدها يتم اتخاذ القرار إذا كانت تقنية البلوكتشين هي الحل المناسب لهذا التطبيق أو لهذه الفكرة، أو إنه نستبدلها بتقنية أخرى. الآن نجي لأهم الخصائص اللي أضافتها تقنية البلوكتشين للتطبيقات، سواء تطبيقات الفنتك أو غيرها من التطبيقات. أضافت لي أبعاد جديدة، أولها طبعا السمارت كونتراكت أو العقود الذكية. العقود الذكية اليوم أي تطبيق مبني على تقنية البلوكتشين بيستخدم العقود الذكية، وهي باختصار برنامج يتم برمجته باستخدام لغة برمجية يتم برمجة جميع الشروط اللي يتم الاتفاق عليها مسبقاً، وبعد كذا يتم برمجتها على شكل عقد ذكي ونشرها على شبكة البلوكتشين. بعد نشر هذا العقد الذكي على شبكة البلوكتشين نقدر نقول شبه مستحيل إنه يتم حذف هذا العقد الذكي أو تغيير أحد الشروط، أو ممكن إنه نحدث عليها ونقدر نسوي تراكنج على جميع التحديثات اللي حدثت على هذا الكونتراكت، ولكن صعب أو شبه مستحيل إنه يتم حذف أو تغيير الشروط. هذا بالنسبة للسمارت كونتراكت أو العقود الذكية. أيضا من الخصائص اللي أضافتها ومن الخصائص المهمة اللي هي توكنايزيشن أو ترميز الأصول. اليوم عندنا في التقنية المالية نقدر نجزأ، مثلا عندنا الأسهم نقدر نجزأ السهم الواحد إلى أجزاء أصغر، أو خلينا نقول مثلا أصول المادية أيضا مثل العقارات مثلا بإمكاننا أن نجزئها لأجزاء أصغر، فأنا أقدر أمتلك جزء من الأصل بدل ما أمتلك أصل كامل. أحيانا بيكون مثلا السهم يعني ما أمتلك مبلغ السهم كامل، فأنا بإمكاني أني أستثمر بجزء من السهم. أيضا بتسهل لي عملية تداول هذه الأسهم بين المستثمرين وبيعها وتداولها فيما بينهم. الخاصية الأخيرة اللي هي Open Ledger أو السجل الرقمي المفتوح. من خلال هذا السجل أنا بإمكاني أستعرض جميع المعاملات اللي بتصير على الشبكة، بإمكاني أستعرضها، بإمكاني أستعرض السمارت كونتراكت متى أنشئ، التاريخ، الوقت، جميع المعاملات بجميع تفاصيلها. هذه الثلاث خطوات إحنا الآن نبغى نستعرضها في تطبيق عملي. نبغى نستعرض عقد ذكي بالشروط المبرمجة فيه. أيضا نبغى نستعرض التطبيق كيف يتم ترميز الأصول، وأخيرا راح نستعرض السجل الرقمي كيف يتم عرض التفاصيل المعاملات اللي صارت على التطبيق أو صارت على الشبكة، كيف يتم حفظها وعرضها في سجل مفتوح للمستخدمين. ولكن قبل ما نستعرض التطبيق عندنا هيئة سوق المال. اليوم لو نجي لقطاع التقنية المالية في السعودية، هل في أي تطبيق تم تشغيله أو تم ترخيصه من هيئة سوق المال يستخدم تقنية البلوكتشين أو السكيورتي توكن أو التوكنايزيشن؟ إلى الآن لا، ولكن هيئة سوق المال فتحت المجال لأصحاب هذه التقنيات بحيث يقدمون هذه التطبيقات للبيئة التجريبية في هيئة سوق المال، بحيث يتم دراستها وتجربتها واختبارها، وفي النهاية طبعا ترخيصها وتشغيلها في السوق. فبتقول لنا هيئة سوق المال إنه التوكن أو لما أسوي توكنايزيشن لأي أصل، التوكن لابد إنه يمثل أحد هذه الأصول أو أحد هذه العناصر اللي معروضة عندنا، مثل أدوات الدين، حقوق الأرباح، عندي أسهم الشركات، الوحدات الاستثمارية. فإحنا الآن نبغى نستعرض أحد التطبيقات لأدوات الدين. أبغى أستعرض أول حاجة اللي هو العقد الذكي. طيب هنا عندنا هنا عندنا مثال لعقد ذكي تم برمجته على شبكة إثيريوم باستخدام لغة سوليديتي. فعندي أنا مشروع سميته مثلا سكني، جزأت هو عقار وجزأته لتوكنز ل50 توكنز، كل توكن بيمثل 1 إيثر. بإمكاني إني أمثله بعملات رقمية مثل ريال أو دولار. أنا هنا مثلته بإيثر، وهي أحد العملات المشفرة الموجودة على تقنية البلوكتشين. بعد كذا عرفت عدد من الوظائف أو الفانكشنز. أنا كمستثمرة بإمكاني إني أسوي تصدير لعدد من التوكن اللي أبغى أشتريها. أيضا بإمكاني بعد ما أمتلك هذه التوكن بإمكاني إني أتعامل معها بالطريقة اللي تتناسب معي، بإمكاني إني أعيد عرضها للبيع، أو إني أحولها لمحفظة أخرى، أو أحولها لشخص آخر. فهذه صورة مبسطة لعقد ذكي. الآن نبغى نسوي ديبلوي أو ننشر هذا العقد الذكي على شبكة البلوكتشين، وأنا شغالة الآن على شبكة محلية يعني لوكال هوست على جهازي. فلو سوينا ديبلوي للعقد الذكي، طيب هنا تم نشر العقد الذكي على الشبكة المحلية اللي موجودة على جهازي. فهنا هنا الأوبن ليدجر أو السجل الرقمي اللي بيحفظ لي أو يعرض لي جميع المعاملات اللي صارت على الشبكة. فعندي آخر معاملة مثلا حصلت اللي هو contract creation، إنه تم إنشاء عقد ذكي. هنا عندي العقد الذكي بإمكاني أشوف أو أتتبع جميع المعاملات اللي صارت على هذا العقد. فإلى الآن لو جيت للعقد الذكي اللي سويت له create، لو جيت للترانزاكشن ما في أي ترانزاكشن إلى الآن. فنبغى نفتح التطبيق وأبغى مثلا هنا لو سويت استعادة لبيانات المشروع اللي هو اسمه سكني، عدد التوكن 50، إلى الآن ما في أي مستثمر أو ما تم تصدير أي من هذه التوكنز. فأنا راح أستخدم المحفظة الرقمية الخاصة فيني، وراح مثلا لو أختار 4 توكن، أبغى أشتري 4 توكن من هذا العقار، وراح أسوي إشيو أو تصدير للتوكن. هنا راح يعرض لي جميع التفاصيل الخاصة بهذه العملية اللي صارت والمبلغ المالي اللي راح يسحبه من محفظتي. فأنا راح أأكد هذه العملية، بعد كذا راح أسوي تشيك لعدد التوكنز. أوكي فور. لو نرجع للسجل الرقمي أو الأوبن ليدجر، أسوي له تحديث. طيب هنا عندي ترانزاكشن حدثت عملية اللي هي issued. لو فتحت عليها راح تكون فيها جميع التفاصيل. عندي عنوان المحفظة اللي استخدمتها في هذه العملية، وعندي أيضا عدد الفاليو أو التوكن اللي تم تصديرها. جميع التفاصيل موجودة على الليدجر بإمكاني إني استعرضها. طيب أنا الآن كشخص أمتلك جزء من هذا الأصل في محفظتي. أنا عندي المرونة في إني أتعامل مع هذه الأصول بالطريقة اللي تتناسب معي. فمثلا لو أبغى أحولها لمحفظة أخرى، أو أبغى أعرضها مثلا للبيع لشخص آخر، مثلا لو رحت الأكاونت 3 راح أرجع للأكاونت اللي أنا أمتلك فيه هذه الأصول، وأبغى أحول له جزء من هذه الأصول. مثلا لو قلت أبغى أحول له 3، أوكي طيب راح أحول له 3 ترانسفير، وراح أسوي confirm للمعاملة. طيب الآن المفروض إني عندي 1. لو أرجع للمحفظة الأخرى check 3. طيب نرجع للسجل الرقمي، راح ألقى إنه المعاملة إنه في معاملة جديدة حدثت على العقد الذكي اللي هي ترانسفير. عدد الفاليو أو عدد التوكن اللي تم تحويلها 3. العنوان المحفظة اللي تم للمرسل، وعنوان المحفظة للمستقبل. فأنا كذا أبغى أعطي أو كذا يعني تقنية البلوكتشين تعطي أصحاب الشركات المرونة في حفظ البيانات والمعاملات وإدارتها بطريقة آمنة وبطريقة موثوقة. أيضا تعطي المرونة للمستثمرين أو المستخدمين في التعامل مع الأصول اللي هم يمتلكوها في محافظهم الرقمية. إلى هنا أنا وصلت لنهاية جزئيتي. أتمنى أني أفدت الجميع ولو بالشيء القليل. أترك المجال لسفانة تستكمل معكم ورشة العمل.
يعطيك العافية عايشة. بخصوص التوكنايزد في العقار، طبعا احنا ليش بنستخدم البلوك تشين فيه؟ لأنه بيسهل عملية تنقل المعاملات بين الأشخاص. فزي ما شرحت الأستاذة عايشة كمان إنه البلوك تشين هو يعتبر آلية جديدة للداتابيس تسمح بمشاركة المعلومات بشكل شفاف داخل نتورك يعني غير مركزي. من خلال هذه التكنولوجي نقدر نبني كثير من الابليكيشنز، طبعا مو بس الفاينانشال سيرفيسز زي الهيلث كير وحتى السبيس وحتى السمارت سيتيز. وإحنا أهم شيء عندنا اللي بنتكلم عنه حاليًا اللي هي الفinTech. طبعًا بالفinTech إيش أكثر شيء مهم فيه؟ اللي هو trust. الخدمات المالية الtrust هي أهم شيء فيها. الtrust اللي يبنى بين الأطراف سواء entities أو أشخاص، والtrust هذه مين اللي بيوفرها لنا بطريقة يعني خصوصًا إحنا دحين متجهين من ناحية إنه نبني applications. كثير من الأشخاص لمن يبنوا applications بيواجهوا صعوبة إنه يقنعوا الكومبانيز في البرودكت حقتهم، بس من ناحية البلوك تشين بيوفر لنا من ناحية اللي هي التراست والسيفتي. أما بخصوص اللي هو مفهوم الفinTech دحين بقول لكم الفرق بين البلوك تشين والفinTech. البلوك تشين هي تقنية مو بس بالفinTech، لها مجالات كثير، لكن الفinTech هي استخدام أكثر من تكنولوجيز لتحسين إيش الخدمات المالية، ولها كثير أنواع مثل الموبايل بيمنت والبير تو بير ليندينج، وحتى الأدفايزرز الآليين كمان يدخلوا بالفinTech، والابليكيشنز المالية القائمة على البلوك تشين. طبعا تهدف حلول الفinTech إنه تخلي الخدمات المالية أكثر سهولة وفعالة وبأسعار معقولة لعدد كبير من الناس. طبعا في البلوك تشين نقدر نستخدمه بالفinTech عشان نوفر زي ما قلنا المعاملات الآمنة والشفافة، ويعني نستنتج من هذا الكلام إنه الفinTech هو مفهوم شامل وواسع لكثير من التكنولوجيز ومن ضمنها البلوك تشين. كيف بنستخدم في another slide إنه بنشرح هنا كيف نستخدم البلوك تشين في تطبيقات الفinTech. طبعًا إذا بضيف البلوك تشين للفinTech كده حتكون المعاملات اللي هي transactions حتكون مرة آمنة. ليش؟ لأنه زي ما شرحت الأستاذة عايشة إنه الداتابيس حتكون موجودة على أكثر من جهاز في نفس النتورك، فبكذا بيقلل من مخاطر الاحتيال والهاكينج، لأن أي تغيير حينبه كل الموجودين على نفس النتورك. كمان نستخدم البلوك تشين في الفinTechs من مميزاتها يعني السمارت كونتراكت. عندنا السمارت كونتراكت هي اللي بتخلي الفاينانشال ترانزاكشنز تدار بطريقة آلية، يعني دايركت قاعدة تدير المعاملات بدون طرف ثالث هو اللي بيتممها ويسوي لها أبروف. طبعًا هذه بتحد من معالجة الوقت وتحد كمان من التكاليف. كمان من مميزاتها اللي هي التحقق من الهوية. يمكننا استخدام البلوك تشين في التحقق من هويات المستخدمين. بكذا بيعطينا إجراء معاملات سريعة بدل ما نضيع وقت في تحقيق هوية الأشخاص. كمان نقدر نستخدم البلوك تشينز في التتبع والتحقق من المعاملات المالية، فهذا بيقلل من الاحتيال، وكمان يضمن لنا الشفافية بحيث إنه الكل بيشوف أو يسوي تراك للترانزاكشنز. طبعا إحنا دائما كمان بنسمع عن مصطلح اسمه ديفاي، دائما مرتبط ديفاي بلوك تشين ديفاي يعني decentralized finance، معناته تمويل لا مركزي. في البلوك تشين تكنولوجي تتيح لنا الإمكانية للبير تو بير ليندينج والاقتراض، ويلغي لنا الحاجة للميدل مان، وهذا الشيء بيقلل طبعا بيوفر لنا مجهود وبيقلل من المعاملات والبطء فيها، فتكون المعاملات سهلة وبسيطة. إنه دحين بنتكلم إنه كيف علم البيانات يدعم تطوير البلوك تشين. في another slide another one. طبعا علم البيانات له مرة دور مهم كبير في تطوير البلوك تشين تكنولوجيز، من خلال إنه يقدم التولز المهمة لتحليل كميات مرة ضخمة من المعاملات اللي تتم على البلوك تشين. على سبيل المثال يمكن لعلماء البيانات استخدام الماشين ليرنينج عشان يحددوا أنماط معاملات البلوك تشين. بكذا بيجينا تنبيه على أي نشاط احتيالي أو انتهاكات أمنية في الماشين ليرنينج، يفيدنا خصوصا في منع الأنشطة الاحتيالية مثل غسيل الأموال والسايبر أتاك، وتنبه السلطات في الوقت الفعلي لهذه الهجمات، مما تمنع طبعا المزيد من الضرر. بنتكلم كمان عن البيج داتا والسمارت كونتراكت. السمارت كونتراكت هي عقود ذكية التنفيذ، يتم كتابة شروط الاتفاقيات سواء بين الكومبانيز أو أي entities أو individuals، مباشرة تكتب الشروط في أكواد برمجية ويتم تنفيذها تلقائيا عند استيفاء الشروط. طبعا زي مثلا أنا عندي شروط معينة إني أبغى أبيع العقارة معينة أو سهمي المعين إلا إذا توفرت عند الشخص الآخر هذه الشروط، فبدل ما أكتبها وبدل ما شخص ثاني يدققها ويراجعها، هذه بمجرد ما يكون في كود برمجي واحد الأشخاص استوفوا الشروط تتم عملية البيع. طبعا يمكننا علم البيانات كمان من استخدام البيج داتا أناليتكس عشان نعمل عقود ذكية أكثر تعقيد، وبكذا راح نرفع من احتمالية قبول وأتمتة المعاملات المالية المعقدة جدا، ونقلل من الوقت وبنزيد الكفاءة ونقلل طبعا الميدل مان. أما بخصوص البلوك تشين وداتا برايفسي، لعلم البيانات طبعا مرة دور مهم في ضمان الخصوصية وأمن البيانات على البلوك تشين باستخدام التشفير. في السلايد اللي بعده هنتكلم عن كيف مكننا علم البيانات من تطوير تقنية البلوك تشين في الفينتك. Another slide please. طيب في السنوات الأخيرة صار لعلم البيانات تأثير كبير في قطاع التقنية المالية. حنتكلم عن 3 نقاط رئيسية أثر فيها علم البيانات. أول نقطة اللي هي Predictive Analytics Models. يمكننا استخدام هذه المودلز عشان نقيم مخاطر الائتمان واكتشاف الاحتيال وتحديد فرص الاستثمار المحتملة. أما بالنقطة الثانية اللي هي الريسك مانجمنت. في الريسك العلم البيانات والريسك مانجمنت يعني من خلال تحليل الكميات هائلة من البيانات من مصادر مختلفة. يعني إحنا عندنا دايم بيانات مرة كثير ومصادرها مرة كثير، سواء من سوشيال ميديا أو مقالات أو أخبار أو بيانات مالية. طبعا يستطيع علماء البيانات تحديد أنماط وتوجهات هذه المعلومات، وبكذا يمكننا يعني التنبؤ بحركات السوق وتخفيف المخاطر. أما بخصوص النقطة الثالثة وهي providing the tools and techniques. طبعا الداتا ساينس لعب دور مهم في تطوير البلوك تشين زي ما قلنا، من خلال توفير الأدوات والتقنيات اللازمة لتحليل وتغيير البيانات الناتجة عن البلوك تشين ترانزاكشنز. وأدى هذا التطوير إنه ينتج خدمات مالية جديدة مثل الكريبتو والتبادل الديجيتال أسيتس. إذا بنتكلم كمان عن سلايد بالنسبة لتأثير حلول الفينتك على المؤسسات والأسواق المالية التقليدية. طبعا البلوك تشين بما إنه يوفر لنا السكيور والشفافية والترانزاكشنز تكون واضحة عند الكل، وكمان بيقلل اللي هو زي ما قلنا الميدل مان، وبيقلل بما إنه قللنا الميدل مان بيقلل كمان الريديوس الكوست، وكمان بنقلل اللي هي الفيز حقة المعاملات. another slide. تقنية البلوك تشين لها القدرة على تحويل زي ما قلنا الخدمات المالية التقليدية زي الخدمات المصرفية، البنوك والتأمين من خلال تمكين اللي هو البير تو بير ترانزاكشن، وتقليل مخاطر الاحتيال، وتقليل كمان من السايبر أتاك. another slide. بالنسبة على الرغم طبعا من التشالنجز اللي عندنا بتواجهنا في البلوك تشين وفي التقنية المالية، إلا إنه بالفعل في أمثلة واقعية على البلوك تشين تستخدم المستخدمة في القطاع المالي، ومن هذه الأمثلة اللي هي الرابل. طبعا الرابل هو بيمنت بروتوكول قائم على البلوك تشين بهدف جعل التحويلات الدولية أسرع وأرخص وأكثر أمان. يستخدم ديجيتال أسيت اسمها XRP عشان يسهل المعاملات. طبعا هو نظام دفع قائم على البلوك تشين. إنه دحين بنشرح كيف يشتغل هذا الرابل. بالبداية أحب أوضح إنه الرابل يستخدم خوارزمية إجماع اسمها KRB Ledger. هذا KRB Ledger عشان تتحقق من صحة المعاملات عن طريق أكثر من entity. إذا يبغى أي شخص دحين بالنسبة لهذه العملية اللي قاعد تدور في الشبكة نفسها، شبكة الرابل، أي شخص يبغى يحول أمواله عن طريق رابل، أول شيء اللي هو السيستم يحول عملته إلى XRP، وهي العملة المشفرة في الرابل نتورك، وبعده يتم إرسال ال XRP إلى المستلم، بحيث المستلم يقدر يحول الرابل إلى عملته المحلية. طبعا الببليك بيعملوا هذه الطريقة لأنها سريعة وفعالة وأرخص بكثير من التحويلات التقليدية. يعني الترانزاكشن فيز حقتها مرة رخيصة بالنسبة للتراديشنال بنوك اللي الحين قاعد تسويها من ناحية التحويل الدولي. طبعا الرابل يستخدم من قبل كثير من المؤسسات المالية. يعني في ناس في جهات كثير بيستخدموها واعتمدوها دوليا. نتكلم عن أهم مزايا الرابل. طبعا هو مرة سريع، بنفس اللحظة بيوصل للشخص الآخر تحويل الأموال، والكوست تعتبر كمان مرة رخيصة، ويعني ما في ميدل مان قاعد يدير هذه العملية. أنا بمجرد ما أدخل هذه النتورك أحول أموالي للشخص الآخر، الشخص الآخر بيستلمها وبيحولها للعملة حقته. وبالنسبة للسكيورتي طبعا احنا يعني الرابل بيستخدموا فيها الكريبتو عموما كلها، أو العملات كلها بيستخدموا كريبتوغرافي فيها، فتعتبر جدا آمنة. طيب بالنسبة للصعوبات اللي بتواجهنا في الداتا ساينس، في الفينتك، في البلوك تشين والفينتك عموما، عندنا اللي هي أول الصعوبات تجميع البيانات. يعتبر تحدي مرة كبير لأن في مصادر مرة كثيرة لنفس الداتا. كمان من الصعوبات اللي هي التشريعات، لأن التشريعات في القطاع المالي معقدة وتعتبر متطورة كمان باستمرار، وكل مرة بتتطور، كل مرة لازم بنغير السمارت كونتراكت عندنا. فكمان في اللي هو التعقيد التقني، تنفيذ ودمج هذه التقنية معقدة ويطلب معرفة وخبرة متخصصة فيه، وهو يعتبر كمان مجال جديد، فالريسورسز جدا قليلة فيه. إذا بنتكلم كمان عن الفرص المستقبلية لعلم البيانات والبلوك تشين والفينتك، عندنا علم البيانات والبلوك تشين والفينتك بيحسن مجال اكتشاف ومنع الاحتيال والوقاية منه، يعني بيقلل منها جدا، خصوصا انها هي شفافة والكل بيشوفها، واحنا بنتنبأ عن طريق الداتا ساينس، بنتنبأ التحركات الماركت نفسه. كمان بيوفر لنا عمليات مالية بسيطة وآلية، يعني بشكل دايركت على طول تدار. كمان بيحسن إدارة المخاطر وتحسين خصوصية البيانات وأمانها، بحيث البلوك تشين يوفر لنا طرق أكثر أمان وشفافية لتخزين البيانات المالية ومشاركتها، بحيث إنه يمكن استخدام علم البيانات لتطوير حلول أمنية وتكون more encryptions. كمان بيوفر لنا فرص استثمارية جديدة زي الديفاي والبي تو بي ليندنج والNFTs، بحيث يمكن للداتا ساينس يساعدنا بتحليل أداء هذه الاستثمارات. بمجرد ما سوينا تحليل لأدائها بنقدر نأثر على قرارات المستثمرين وجذبهم كمان. وكمان بيطور علم البيانات والبلوك تشين والفينتك من بيزيد الكفاءة وتوفير التكاليف من خلال الاستفادة من هذه التقنيات وتطبيقها. يمكن للفينتك كومبانيز تقليل التكاليف وتحسين الكفاءة من خلال معرفة الرينج للعمليات المالية من مدفوعات وتسويات وإدارة مخاطر. في الختام طبعا بشكل عام علم البيانات لعب مرة دور مهم في تطوير البلوك تشين، والبلوك تشين طبعا له القدرة على إحداث ثورة في صناعة التقنية المالية. عموما كمان علم البيانات مكن المؤسسات المالية من الاستفادة من البيانات، وبكذا بيحسن عملية صنع القرار وتحسين اليوزر اكسبيرينس وزيادة الانوفيشنز. بكذا خلصنا الوركشوب. أتمنى إنه الكل استفاد من هذه المعلومات، وتعتبر معلومات يعني مثرية للجميع. إذا عندكم أي استفسار طبعا إحنا موجودين.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Aisha and Ms. Sufana. Is any questions? Any questions from the audience? I think no questions. Thank you very much, Ms. Sufana and Ms. Aisha, for the great presentation. Thank you very much. Okay. Now we are having our closing remarks. First and foremost, I would like to express my appreciation to all the speakers for their valuable contribution to the WITS Medina 2023 event. My deepest gratitude goes to all who attended the event and helped to make it such a successful event. Finally, our deepest thanks are of course reserved for Al Bayan members, ATA and SSDS for their priceless contribution and for running a smooth event. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much. Yes, with this we end our session, our event. Thank you.